Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to NXTGEN Racing live on YouTube and live on Facebook. We're back with the GT3s on Thursdays, and we're here for round 2 at Road America. Fantastic circuit we've got in store for us, but a little bit about the series before we get started tonight. This is the Thursday night NXTGEN Racing League. There are also leagues running on Tuesdays and Friday nights. The Tuesday nights are touring cars and the Friday nights are legends, and I believe there is an F4 league starting soon as well. NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair racing, of course, and this is Thursday night iteration of it. A huge shout out to NXTGEN Racing sponsors, partners and affiliates that include Only Racing, who are the prize donors of this series. £500 worth of store credits for Only Racing for the winner of this series at the end of the series. PowerMax Racing and the rest of the partners, sponsors and affiliates include Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design and Moser Racing. This Thursday night's series features GT3 racing at its finest in this last 6th iteration of it. If you want to get involved in the series, you still can. The pricing's in the top right there, but it does change, I believe, throughout the season. It gets a little bit cheaper if you're entering later on in the season. But they're the prices as it stands at the early part or the start of the season, which we are kind of in at the moment. And if you want to get involved in NXTGEN Racing, whether it's this league or other leagues, or if you just want to get involved in the communications and discussions within the racing of NXTGEN Racing, you can scan the QR code on the bottom left to get access to NXTGEN Racing's Discord server. The various formats of this series include a 1-hour practice which the drivers are undertaking at the moment. That ends at 8 o'clock UK time. Even when the clocks change, it will still be 8 o'clock UK time. So if you're in other time zones, synchronise your watches and keep an eye on the times for this series. But we have a 20-minute qualifying that precedes the racing usually, and tonight's racing in particular will include a qualifying session of 20 minutes on the hour of 8 o'clock, and that will proceed with a 20-minute sprint race and then a 60-minute feature race which will feature pit stops. It is a fixed setup series, which means the car you're in is the car you drive. You cannot change anything on the setup, which makes this a very, very even series. It is purely about man and machine. There are classes in this series: gold, silver and bronze, for the various tiers of driving capabilities and abilities within the series. Gold drivers are typically the top tier of drivers, silver tier the mid tier, and bronze drivers are typically the drivers who are less experienced. All modern GT3 cars, which we'll go through very shortly. And just to mention about the formats, not only do we have sprint races and feature races, other rounds of the season will feature endurances. But speaking of the other rounds of the season, this is our calendar that we're undergoing for the season. Last week we were at Fuji in Japan for the opening round of the series, and it was a brilliant round at that. Plenty of carnage and plenty of great racing to go along with it. Today we're in the States. In the northern state of Wisconsin at Road America. Not a typical track you'd see in a series. I actually think is a rather overlooked and underrated track, actually, and you'll see tonight. I'm pretty sure the racing's going to be good tonight, touch wood. But all the tracks you see on here that are text-coloured white, they are our sprint and feature race format rounds, whereas the rounds in yellow are our endurance rounds. So you'll see round 3 there, which is next week at Monza, highlighted in yellow, is our first of 3 endurance rounds of the season, and that will be a 2-hour endurance. Round 4 of the season will be back in Japan at the Suzuka circuit, very popular circuit with Formula 1, of course. Likewise is round 5, Catalonia historic layout, which is now the current Formula 1 layout of Catalonia. Make of that what you will, but it is the good layout of Catalonia. That's the most important thing. We'll have a week off between weeks 5 and 6, and just as well because the drivers can get their practice in for round 6 of the season, which will be at the longest track on iRacing, the longest track in sim racing, the Nordschleife, and it is the entirety. So it's going to be a great round there. The drivers will have 2 weeks to get their practice in for the Green Hell, round 6 of the season, and it'll be a 2-hour endurance, of course. Round 7 of the championship, and we're back to the sprint and feature race formats for 3 consecutive rounds to see out the latter part of the season. We'll start off at Zolder for round 7, and we'll head over to Brazil for round 8 at Interlagos. And round 9, we're back in Germany, and we're back at the Nürburgring, but just the Grand Prix layout for the final sprint and feature race format round of the season. And round 10 of the championship, the final round on the 5th of December, will be hosted at Daytona Road Course. Of course, infamously hosts the Daytona 500, of course, does Daytona, but Daytona Road Course infamously hosts the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona every January or February. I think it alternates. But yeah, round 10 of the season, what a great round that will be on the oval in the Speedway for the final round of this championship. And it is a GT3 championship, which means there's plenty of cars to choose from. It is the most popular brand of, or should we say, category of cars on iRacing, and pretty much in sim racing actually, and is ever gaining popularity in the real world as well. But the cars that the drivers can choose and race from are the Audi R8, the BMW M4, the Chevrolet Corvette, the Ferrari 296, the Ford Mustang, the Lamborghini Huracan, the McLaren 720, the Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche 911. All of these are GT3 cars and available for purchase on iRacing, of course. And you'll see all of these manufacturers represented in this series. Drivers must choose these cars before they start the season or before their first rounds that they take part in. And should a driver change a car during the season, they can, but they will be deducted 50 points. And as we saw last season, when there are updates going on iRacing, it often can lead to tactics. Well, can drivers afford to lose 50 championship points in order to pick a more OP car? We'll see if that happens this season, but we did see people attempt that last season, which was very interesting indeed. But they're the cars, a wealth of cars in this series, of course. So we're here at Road America, sorry, the other road track in America. Yeah, what a great track this is. It's as I said, I think it's underrated. It's often overlooked. People often think, Road America, I'll give it a miss. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it's a brilliant track. I love watching IndyCar here. IMSA is brilliant here as well. And you've got to think about this track. You look at the map there. There are 3 fast sections on this track. The start-finish straight, where they'll reach some of their top speeds on this circuit. The end of the straight leading into turn 4, I believe. So after turn 2 or 3, I can't quite remember the corner names. Yeah, let's get them here on my screen so I can see. Yeah, so heading out of the right-hander at turn 3 and all the way down to turn 5 is a very fast section where they go through the Moraine sweep. Very fast section of the track. And of course, when they come out of the carousel, which is the long right-hander at the top end of the circuit, they're flat out through the kinks and over to Canada corner of turn 12. Another very fast section of the track. But Road America here in Wisconsin, this track sits pretty much smack bang between Milwaukee and Green Bay, 2 very big cities in the Wisconsin state. About 57 miles north of Milwaukee and about 55 miles south of Green Bay, so pretty much smack bang in the middle of the two. And we're only about 20 kilometers away from Lake Michigan, so it's a brilliant and picturesque location, actually, is Road America. Can get a bit cold this time of year, but the drivers will be enjoying this weather so far, as we're at 23 degrees at the moment, as you can see on the weather stats there, but quite high wind speeds, so that might be affecting the cars on the straights. But more about this track. The layout is relatively unchanged since 1955. They have stuck to this layout. Don't fix it, it isn't broken. That's what I say. And this track has 14 turns, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, as you can see on the map there. It's hosted IndyCar, NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series, IMSA, GT World, Challenge America. It is a popular track, particularly in the American Series. There we go, that's a lot about the track there, done and dusted. But let's have a look at the points as we head into tonight. So we've had our first round of the season, and remember there are three categories and teams championships involved in this series. So a little less to focus on like what it was last season, where we had multi-class 5 categories in total. It's a little bit more focused, I would say, this season. So yeah, without further ado, here is the gold standings heading into tonight, the top 10. There are drivers just outside of the top 10. But Ben McCluskey, what a round he had. My drive of the day last week, he was exceptional at Fuji. It took him a while, to be fair, to get to the front of the field in the feature race last week, but he did get there on the final lap. He made a move on the final lap for that first place, and he secured it, securing a maximum points round heading out of the opening round of the season. What a great statement of intent that was. And a 16-point lead over Jake Pitt, who had a nice consistent round last time out. Top 5 finishes in both races, getting him second in the championship heading into tonight. A great start for the driver, who, bear in mind, was in silver category last season. So a brilliant start to his gold career, shall we say. Gaz Williams, third in the championship, the host of this series, just 1 point behind second place. A good strong round for him last week. Likewise with Gavin Gardner. It was a NXTGEN 1-2-3 in the sprint race last week. So big points for them. And you can see we're only 1 round in, so it is quite close in the points. As we can see, Mike Barber is only 4 points behind second place, but he's in 5th place. Good round for him as well. Martin Hobson takes up 6th position, tied for 5th place. Edwin Simpson 7th, Marcelo Felix in 8th, Sean Shute in 9th, and Matthew Cheverton in 10th position. Silver category, and it is Kyle Oosthuizen, the first position, 39 points for him. He did have a penalty, but even with that penalty, he still leads the championship. He had a penalty in the second race for a collision with, I believe it was Baz Meacham. I believe that's right. Anyway, there was quite a few penalties heading out of last week, so I might have mixed up a few names there, maybe. Who knows? But Kyle is in the first place. A good round for him. He finished first and second last week. Mark Baker in second position. A good, consistent round for him. Likewise with Matthew Addy. They were very silent in the background, just collecting the points, and a very good start to this championship for those two drivers. Second and third for them. Jeffrey Kruger did win the feature race last week, but due to a penalty it was taken away from him. That win actually went to the 5th place driver in the championship, James McGaskill, who is so low on points that it's because he turned up late, I think, to the sprint race and therefore scored a low amount of points in that sprint race. But he showed good pace in race 2 and inherently picked up the win due to penalties in that race. Mark Kent in 6th position in the championship with Mike Reedner in 7th, Wesley Lewin in 8th, Kevin Smith in 9th, and Paul Walsh 10th position. Bronze category now. Andy Rooney, good start to this season for him. Likewise with second place Kurt Van Honecker. They both had a big battle in the feature race last time out at Fuji. But Andy Rooney won in the feature race, and he takes the lead of the championship heading into tonight with Kurt Van Honecker in second position. Andy Chell will be third position with Elwin Sykes in 4th position. Those two were quite close. That's Andy Chell and Elwin Sykes. Those two were pretty close to each other in the championship, bronze championship last season as well. Gabriel Papaconstantino in 5th position with Jonathan Berry on his debut. 6th position for him. Adam Wilson, we're in 7th position with Stephen de Gravelia, who was 2nd in the bronze championship last season. 8th for him heading out of round 1. Danny Switzer won the sprint race but didn't attend the second race, the feature race. So a lot of missed points for him. We'll have to see if he's back tonight, but see if he can pick up the points as the season goes by. And Stein Vatens in 10th position. And for the team's championship, and we're about to head into qualifying very, very shortly. You'll see the drivers transition over in the background very shortly, but we'll just go over the top 5 here in the team's championship. It's the CSA team, Woza team. that take the lead in the team's championship on 63 points. And remember, it's the points you score in your category that contribute to your team's championship standings. So Wesley Lewin, Edwin Simpson and Kyle Oosthuizen in the top position there. Aztec Racing were very good last season, with Matthew Cheverton, Jake Pitt and James McGaskill, a very strong lineup in that second place there. Look out for them throughout the season. Quatermass Motorsport were very strong last season, nearly picking up second in the team's championship last season. Ben Bennyworth, Andy Rooney and Rob Savage in the third place spot there. SK Racing of Stein Vatens and Kurt Van Honecker. It's safe to say that Van Honecker picked up the majority of the points in that team, but they pick up fourth place in the championship heading into tonight. And fifth place is CSA Team Isit with Davide Favo, who didn't race last week, Jeffrey Kruger and Sean Shute. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that's championship standings and all the housekeeping over and done with. We can get down to the racing now. We'll join our camera crew trackside and watch the drivers as they head out onto the track for qualifying for round 2 of the championship. It's a 20-minute qualifying session, and that will set the grid for the sprint race. Whereas the feature race is the reverse grid of the results of the sprint race, but each category are grouped together and reversed. So if you win the sprint race in the gold category, you start at the back of the gold category, so the first third of the grid in the feature race. If you finish last in the silver category, for example, you will start pole for the silvers in race number 2. It'll make way more sense when you see it a bit later on if you are new to the series. It makes perfect sense because it groups the drivers together in their categories after the initial sprint race, of course. But let's take a look at the drivers out on track at the moment. This is the main man here, Ben McCluskey. That is the Benji of Benji Sim Photos. You saw some of the photos in slideshow, in carousel at the start of this stream. And to start us off in qualifying here, we're going to do an onboard lap with the man himself, our championship leader, heading into tonight. So here we go. Ben McCluskey will cross the line to start a flying lap here at Road America. Across the line we go now to start this lap. Up the gears we go. How fast are we going? 152, 153. Near 160 miles per hour. We just got to 56. We head into turn number 1. Nice wide exit there, through a slight turn 2 here, but in straight into turn number 3. Have to be very, very late back on the throttle, but it's important you get the optimal timing on the throttle as you head out of turn 3, because this is one of the fastest sections on the track. Under the cheese bridge we go. A little bit of a lock there from iRacing, but this is referred to as the Moraine sweep. This section of the track will head downhill here, braking into turn number 5. Oh, the car on its toes, trying to stay gripped to the circuit. Up a slight hill under that Corvette bridge into turn number 5. Very slow left-hander here. It always feels like you could go faster through that corner, but you just can't. It is the slowest corner on the track. Turn 7 is another corner you want to take flat out, but it just struggles with it sometimes. Turn number 8, another slow corner, and the inside curb dips quite a bit, and you get your car hooked just right on that. It will bring the car around lovely. Now the carousel, a long corner, late apex here, and you get your throttle down. Oh, I believe McCluskey could have been a bit better on the exit there. He had to ease off, and the car unloaded itself. But here we go through the kink, backing off a little bit there. These cars are very much struggling around this circuit, which normally it's a little bit freer and easier braking into Canada Corner. You can apply the throttle and run out wide, quite wide there, outside of Canada Corner into turn number 13. Lovely corner. This is very satisfying when you get it bang on right. Turn number 14, the corner that just seems to go on forever and forever. It's very easy to go out too wide on the exit of that corner. Now, it is quite a long lap here at Road America, but actually when you concentrate on the lap, it does fly by, to be honest. And McCluskey on the board. Yes, he is, at 2 minutes 5. So that really didn't feel like a 2-minute lap. It felt like more, to be less, to be honest. But what a beautiful lap here at Road America. A couple of new drivers tonight as we see some of the times filter through. We do have a couple of new drivers, or drivers on their first round of the season heading into tonight. Let's see if I can pick out a few of them here. We have got Gabriel Yilmaz, bronze category driver tonight. New driver for this series, late entry this week. Stephen Bird in the gold category, got some pace. This guy, he was very quick in practice heading into tonight. He was signed up before round 1, but off CSA we've got Chris Shorter here. He has got the highest rating of the field, 7,000. So yeah, look out for this guy. And he's already top in the standings, nearly half a second clear of last week's dominator, McCluskey. So definitely a driver to look out for in this series is Shorter. We have also got a return to the series of Jamie Dury. He did struggle a little bit last season in the multi-class league in the prototypes, but this guy really can drive a GT3 car very, very well indeed. And he's supremely quick in the touring cars as well. So definitely look out for Jamie Dury in this season. He didn't race last week, but he's back this week, and we'll see what damage he can do. So Chris Shorter, top of the gold at the moment. Kyle. I've been told I pronounced his second name incorrectly. So Oosthuizen. There we go. Look, if I'm pronouncing anyone's names incorrectly, please just tell me. I don't take it as criticism. I consciously want to get those things right. I do try and use translators and that sort of thing to get them right, but sometimes you do get them wrong. So Oosthuizen, first place of silvers. Resuming what he did so well last time out. He was the one to look out for in the silver category last week. He very nearly took 2 wins last time out. Him and his teammate Jeffrey Kruger worked together, it's safe to say, in race number 2 last week. And it was Kruger who took the win on track, but penalties led these two to drop positions. But in the silver category, Matthew Addy throws down a gauntlet here. 2 minutes 6.1, which is less than a second off the gold fastest time, but it's enough to be more than 3/10 quickest in the silver category at the moment. Bronze category, a few more drivers yet to get on the board here, but it's Adam Wilson-Weir who had a fairly quiet round last time out at Road America. 7th in the championship heading into tonight, and he was first, but just taking it away from him is the Porsche driver, Crest Autosport here, Steven de Gravelia. Now he had, I'm in a group chat with him because Crest Autosport's my team, of course. He had a disappointing round in his words last week, and Nigel Stock, his teammate, feels the same, who has just put himself into second place, exactly the same time as Matthew Addy. So Crest Autosport, good start tonight. Woohoo! No bars at all, no bars at all, completely impartial. Andy Rooney goes to the top of the bronze standings. He won the feature race last time out in the bronze category, so a brilliant, brilliant time for him. More than 3/4 of a second clear of de Gravelia. That is until Elwyn Sykes puts himself second in the bronze category. Martin Hobson, I don't think raced last week. There are 2 Hobsons in the series, so yeah, him and Aaron, brothers maybe? Family, either way. Both from Yorkshire, both representing the team of Yorkshire Mafia Racing. Yeah, lovely name. But yeah, let's see how the Hobsons can get on in this series. But it's Martin doing very well so far. Second place. Just 3/10 off the top spot. Gaz Williams, third place for him. He was good last time out at Fuji. Some good results. Perhaps the sprint race for him would probably be more of a highlight than the feature race, but it's still good points, and 3rd in the championship heading into tonight. McCluskey 5th at the moment, our championship leader in the pits. But he's got plenty of time. He can head back out on track, fresh boots, and set more lap times. Chris Shorter is in the pits as well. Keep an eye on Stephen Bird here as well. He was quick in practice, I noticed, driving the Ferrari here. He is. A lot of Ferraris at the top of the gold category. 2nd to 5th. There's a Mustang at the top at the moment. And Steve Bird just swapping positions there with Martin Hobson. So little did I know. Stephen Bird He's driving for Yorkshire Mafia Racing. He's in the sim livery. So we'll have to update our overlay very soon. Now, what else has gone out on the track? Mark Sykes in second place there. Beautiful, beautiful lime green livery there for Mark Sykes. He does know how to design a livery, does Mark. He's a very good graphic designer, as is Ben McCluskey. They provide both in turn, both provide graphics, liveries, etc. for Next Gen Racing. Most of the graphics you see pre and post show here on this broadcast are designed by them too, so credit to them. Mark will want to put those graphic skills to his driving tonight. Second place for him at the moment in bronze. That's a pretty good result so far. Rooney really is holding a good place at the moment in that bronze category, being 3/10 clear and winning the feature race last time out. Silver category, this really is going to be the one to look out for. Now, because they set exactly the same time, and we're referring to Matthew Addy and Nigel Stock here, because Matthew Addy set the time first, he will be pole position. As he's got Gavin Gardner, I believe that is, moving past him on the inside. Katie Eames, can see you in the comments there. Welcome along again, Katie. As usual, one of the biggest fans of Next Gen Racing. And Kurt Van Oneker is not racing tonight, unfortunately, after the good round last week. It's a shame not to see you this week, Kurt, but next week, hopefully, at Monza. So a couple of drivers on their out lap here. It's a long lap here, as I said. So if you think about it, once they've done 2 laps, 4 minutes expired. And at this point, it means they're only really going to get in if they want to pit for fresh boots at some point between now and the end of qualifying. They're only really going to get 2 flying laps if they can time it right. In fact, even that might be a stretch at the moment. So a lot of these drivers will have one real opportunity, because it does seem that the first flying lap on these tyres are optimal for these cars. So that's what these drivers will be trying to get right, most of all. Chris Shorter on an out lap here. Wait for other drivers to pass by, and then we'll presumably floor it for a lap to try and further solidify his pole position in this session. And he's just waiting for more drivers to pass by so he really can get the best track position. I did wonder if he was waiting for a bit of a slipstream from another CSA driver, which there is one up ahead, but I think it's a bit out of stretch for this to be a slipstream, and I believe this is just a lone flying lap here that Shorter is trying to achieve. So we'll see how he gets on in this final phase of qualifying here. It is quite surprising to see our championship leader in 5th place at the moment. However, qualifying is one thing, the race is another. You do get a bonus point for being pole position in your category. And let's just take a look at the overall standings, actually. So there we go, Matthew Addy and Nigel Stock, 11th and 12th on the grid. So they're in amongst a bunch of gold drivers, which is good for them. It means they can battle it out. As we see McCluskey go to 2nd, just as I was bad-mouthing him a little bit there. He puts in a time and says, "Shut up, Alex, I'm just 1/4 of a second off Chris Shorter." But yeah, Matthew Addy and Nigel Stock, they're gold drivers behind them, which is good. It keeps them away from their rivals in the silver category. Oosthuizen is top of the championship, 17th, so he'll have to really put in a good shift in the sprint race as it stands to keep up with Matthew Addy, who is top 3 in the championship heading into tonight, in the silvers that is. Bronze, it's still Andy Rooney leading the way. 22nd place he'll start on the grid, and a huge amount of positions clear of his nearest rivals, Mark Sykes. Now, Andy Rooney was racing for Full Tilt Motorsport last season, and he's now racing for Quatermass Motorsport. And it must be said, the new team has brought on good form as well for Andy Rooney. He's he had a bit of bad luck last season. He was racing GT3s in the bronze category last season, but he had quite a lot of bad luck. He picked up 2 race wins, I believe, last season, so he had the potential there. Just the luck weren't on his side, and so far this season, touch wood, I say that a lot, I realise, but yeah, he's really had a good start to the season. Drivers on flying laps. Let's have a look at the track map. So a lot of drivers out on the track. It's just a swarm of drivers out there on the track at the moment. Let's see what Wesley Lewin can do. Wesley Lewin's 33rd at the moment. Across the line he'll go. Doesn't seem to have moved. We've got some Quatermass drivers moving through at the moment. They must have been slipstreaming each other to try and get a better straight line speed on this track. And that doesn't seem to be an improved time from Jonathan Berry there as he lets through. I think that was Andy Rooney who was letting through just then. Yes, it was. Rooney still in 24th position. Got the overall positions of the drivers here, but they're in the order of where they'll qualify within their category. It's still shorter at the top though. Got a few drivers ahead of him, including Sean Schutz, who is a teammate, and a flash of the lights there from Shorter to either say, right, get out the way. Yep, that was a get out the way signal. I'm happy now, I'm up on my optimal. And could this be a better lap time from Chris Shorter to further solidify pole position? Another flash of the lights of the driver in front. Out the way the BMW goes, which I think was Edwin Simpson. And Chris Shorter will be on his way, maybe, to an even better lap. A lot of drivers will be starting their final lap here as we see a new leader, a new pole sitter in the bronze category. It is Stephen de Gravelia, who's moved to 800ths clear of Andy Rooney and has put one hand on that bonus point in the bronze category. I didn't think Rooney was going to be beaten at this stage, and it is even quicker for Chris Shorter, nearly into the 2-minute 4s, which would be extraordinary. He further solidifies pole position by 0.4 of a second clear now, and in the silver category into 7th overall, but first in category. Oosthuizen, leader at the championship. There you go, he says, that's why I'm leading the championship. He goes clear of his rivals Matthew Addy and Nigel Stock, and will start well up the grid as it stands at the moment. We'll have to see what else will happen here. We're looking at Aaron Hobson here in the Mercedes. Will cross the line. Will this be a better time? It won't. Stays where he is. What about Ben McCluskey? Just crossed the line. Did go quicker. 0.3 behind Shorter again. So McCluskey at this point must be thinking, oh, what do I need to do? He just improved his time, but he's going to have to do even more. De Gravelia, is in the pits. He said, yep, that's enough. That's pole position for me. But Andy Rooney's still out there. Not much between him and De Gravelia. Oh, drivers moving around in the gold category. Gaz Williams puts himself into 2nd and Gavin Gardner into 6th position. So Gaz Williams less than 0.2 off of Chris Shorter. It is getting slimmer and slimmer. The gap shorter and shorter between Shorter and the rest. But how many times are going to make that joke this season? I hope not too many. But yeah, Gaz Williams, good response, helping his teammate out potentially. Flash of lights there from Gaz Williams. Doesn't want anyone getting in the way. Heading down to turn number 4 on this track. Down at turn number 4 is Gavin Gardner, who did go quicker on his last lap and will be looking for a few more tenths to put himself further up in his category. Chris Shorter is heading out of the final corner now. Will this be an even quicker time this time around? He can go for another lap. I think that was an invalid lap. Yes, I believe that was an invalid lap for Chris Shorter. So this will be his final lap. his last attempt. Oosthuizen, first place in silvers, crosses the line again. Will this be even quicker? No, it won't. Invalid lap, I believe. So a couple of them happening at this point. Desperation, perhaps? Maybe. Ben McCluskey heads up the hill. The check flag is out. This will be it for McCluskey, our championship leader. Crosses the line. Doesn't go quicker. Stays third for the moment. That's not bad. That's not terrible. You know, maybe leading the championship, but it's still a good qualifying position. Absolutely it is. And it is the race to look out for, not just qualifying. Okay, Gaz Williams crosses the line. Doesn't go quicker. In fact, that wasn't too far off of his best anyway. Jake Pitt crosses the line shortly. Just outside the top 10 at the moment by time. Let's see if Jake Pitt, who's second in the championship heading into tonight, does go quicker, goes 6th position. Brilliant final lap from Jake Pitt there. He'll be a lot happier about that. It seems in the gold category today, the competition is much, much tougher. It seems a little bit more spaced out between the drivers as Mike Barber invalidates his time running off wide there in the Verano Motorsport Mustang there and heads into the pits after the invalidated time. Chris Shorter will complete a lap here. Doesn't need to, it's got to be said. We see Jeffrey Kruger go a little bit further up in the silver category, up to 5th, but that was a good lap from Shorter. It might have been just a practice lap, but it was still pretty quick. It would have been just about 2nd place if it was relative. But there we go, that is the majority of the drivers done and dusted. Let's just keep an eye on Marcus Sykes here. I know he's heading into the pits. I believe it was a slow exit out of the final corner there. So that'll be it. That will be our qualifying standings. And bonus points go to Chris Shorter in the golds, Oosthuizen in the silvers, and Steven de Gravelia in the bronze category. Interesting qualifying session. And a long lap here at Road America, which is quite agonizing actually, because you invalidate your lap, you've got a long time until your next one. And with a 20-minute session, 2-minute 5 per lap, you know, you have no more than 9 laps to do on this circuit, including outlaps. So it's crucial at tracks such as Road America. So there we go. We're going to head into the sprint race very shortly. It will be a 20-minute sprint race. Like we said, we have sprint races and feature races in these regular rounds of the championship. And those tracks highlighted in white on the right hand side there are your sprint and feature race format rounds, and the yellow rounds are your endurances. So very much looking forward to the endurances. But here we go, we're going to grid up for the opening race of the night. On pole position is Chris Shorter, with Gaz Williams starting in 2nd position alongside the debutant tonight. Ben McCluskey will start 3rd position, leading the championship heading into tonight, with Martin Hobson in 4th position. Stephen Bird in 5th position, with Jake Pitt 2nd in the championship on the 3rd row there. Gavin Gardner 7th, with Sean Shue in 8th position. Mike Barber will start 9th position for Verano Motorsports, and Kyle Oosthuizen, pole position of the silver category, will line up 10th overall. Marcelo Felix 11th position, with Ben Altria in 12th. Matthew Addy and Nigel Stock equal times, will start 13th and 14th for the silver category on that 7th row there. Jamie Dorian 15th, with Alan McCain in 16th. Aaron Hobson and Matthew Cheverton will start on the 9th row. 10th row taken up by Edwin Simpson and Baz Meacham. Ben Bennyworth, last season's silver category champion, will line up 21st, and he's in the gold category this season. Jeffrey Kruger, last season's bronze category champion, will line up 22nd there and in silver category. Mark Baker, 23rd position with Stephen de Grevellier, the pole sitter for the bronze category. Paul Walsh will start 25th with Andy Rooney alongside him in 26th. Ian Manners 27th with Mark Kent alongside in 28th. Mike Reedner and Kevin Smith will line up on the 10th row alongside each other. James McGaskill, last week's Inherent feature race winner, lines up 31st with Mark Sykes in 32nd. Harley Bicknell in 33rd with Jochen Seeger in 34th. Elwyn Sykes and Wesley Lewin, both CSA drivers, will line up 35th and 36th. Andy Chell and Adam Wilson-Weir make it quite a mass 19th row. The 20th row taken up by Nathan Lewis-Stone and Jonathan Berry. Gabriel Yilmaz in 41st and John Meredith in 42nd, with Robert Savage and Craig Tillotson on the 22nd row. Gabriel Papaconstantino in 45th and Stein Vatens 46th, the back of the grid. So there we go, the drivers are already heading towards the start of this race. And it's a very short formation lap in this series. Not much time to warm up the tyres, and it also helps save fuel as well, particularly important in that feature race. Fuel less important in this race, it's got to be said. Now the start procedure for this series is you must maintain safety car speed until the lights turn green. That's in this series. And with Chris Shorter being in his debut tonight, it's important that he remembers that to prevent himself from getting a penalty later on. So let's see how we get on in this opening race of the night. We'll head over the hill. The marshal will wave green. And the drivers are off. And away they go for round 2 here at Road America. Heading down towards turn number 1. Shorter will guard the inside. It's very narrow on this track compared to Fuji. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens into turn 1. And we've got an instant. Round goes Mark Baker. And we do have a block track here, so it might well be a safety car if one is called. But there's a lot of cars involved in the incident there. And drivers heading back to the pits. We'll see if it does end up being a safety car. Normally it does in other series in Next Gen, but a lot of drivers affected on that start there. Away we go with the rest of the grid. And it's Chris Shorter with the good early start here with Gaz Williams just behind him. 7/10 behind, but still within reach of trying to threaten the CSA driver. We've got more incidents further back. Kevin Smith has had an incident further back. He's in the middle of the track there, holding his brake to make sure the drivers can get by, and he isn't moving in front of traffic. That's very well done from Kevin Smith, but it's going to put him down a huge amount of positions in this race. Heading around the carousel now for the first time. Sean Shute we're watching here. Trying to hunt down driver in front of him, Mike Barber. Back here in the silver category, Nigel Stock has got the better of Matthew Addy off the line. They were tied on times in qualifying, but on the first lap it's Nigel Stock who gets the better. He had, quoted to me, he had a disappointing round last time out at Fuji, but this time he'll be hoping for better. Jamie Dory overtaken then by Marcelo Felix, and he's under a bit of pressure from Nigel Stock now, heading into the final part of the lap. End of the lap, out of the final corner goes Chris Shorter, and will complete the lap here at Road America. 1.3 seconds clear, so it's a great start to the race for Chris Shorter. Next Gen drivers Gaz Williams and Ben McCluskey gonna hope they can help out each other to try and hunt down the driver in front of them, who is now an immediate threat on their championship. Bronze category, Stephen Scrivelli across the line, still in first position of his category. But just in front here, we have got two Brits head-to-head, one being Ben Benworth and Baz Meacham, the other, in the all-white livery there. Managed to stay in front, held the outside line and powered his way around the apex to hold that fifth position in category. Very close further up as well. That is just ahead of Jamie Dory. That's Ben Oucher and Marcelo Felix. Felix is not hanging around here, and Jamie Dory is sniffing around the back here. Couldn't find a way through because it narrowed a little bit heading down the Moraine sweep there, and in front goes Marcelo Felix into 10th position, and wide there goes Ben Alcher. He's going to lose out to Jamie Dory as well. Yes, he does, and he might well be in trouble with Nigel Stock behind him as well. But Stock is looking to get a good position in category, so he can't worry too much about the gold drivers. But a couple of positions up the road, on the road, is Kyle Oosthuizen, who's the man he needs to hunt down. We've got Aaron Hobson side by side here with Jeffrey Kruger. Past he goes. And Kruger will need to hold off Baz Meacham now, who has just guarded off Ben Bennyworth earlier in the lap, as we saw. There's a lot of drivers in and out of the pits at the moment. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers have been in the pits or are in the pits right now. There's other drivers who are going to be heading back out onto the track in a bit, presumably. But a lot of drivers' races affected in the early part of this session. Ooh, a little bit wide there was, I believe that was Marcelo Felix. But managed to get away there. He's lost a little bit of time to cool Kyle Oosthuizen up ahead. And the fastest lap there as drivers heading out of the pits after getting a tow back to the pits and getting a fast repair. They'll have to mind out of the way of these drivers coming through. They must have played blue flags, and that was really close. Real close. Jamie Dory just about avoided contact then. And being pushed down the hill almost by Ben Altria. Back here we've got Edwin Simpson and Matthew Addy side by side. Not in the same category, so they'll give each other a little bit of a wide berth. But Matthew Addy here dropping places overall, and Nigel Stock is getting away from him, and this might be inviting him into the clutches of Jeffrey Kruger and Baz Meacham, but he still holds third, still a good place. Edwin Simpson looking to the inside of Matthew Cheverton of Aztec Racing, but couldn't quite make a move to the inside, both in the long wheelbase cars of the BMW and the Mustang. Stevie de Gravelia here doing very well at the moment. Leading this category. He's got a car between him and Andy Rooney. James McGaskill is behind him. It's a very good start to this race for Stevie de Gravelia. Chris Shorter's flying now. 2.2 seconds clear already. Making this look pretty easy actually. And Gaz Williams and Benji McCluskey, they're just watching him pull away at the moment, but they've got other drivers behind them to worry about as well. Yeah, comment on YouTube there. Chris should go in his own class, platinum class. Yeah, absolutely. That's what he's making it look like at the moment. But yeah, Chris Short, a very, very talented driver. And he's showing why he is in this race at the moment. So some of the drivers affected by the first lap incident, which actually we'll go back and look at a little bit later. Well, I say a little bit later on. After this race, we'll go back and have a look at the replays of the opening lap, because a lot goes on in these 46 car grids. So there are other things we must keep an eye on as well, as we see Jamie Dory looking to the inside of Marcelo Felix heading into turn number 1, but Felix is later on the brakes and is able to power it round and stay in front, heading out turn number 1. A three-way battle potentially here. Pitt versus Barber and Shute. This is the battle for 7th position. They've lost a little bit of ground here from Gavin Gardner, who seems to be on his own a little bit heading into turn number 5. But into turn number 5 we go. Jake Pitt was wary that Mike Barber might try a move, but he holds it off. And there's a couple of these groups splitting up a little bit here. But we've got Nigel Stock getting close to Jamie Dory. He has only eyes in front of him at the moment, Nigel Stock does, looking to try and get up towards Kyle Oosthuizen. And Jeffrey Kruger here, we'll take a look to him. He's going to try and get past Aaron Hobson. So these drivers will know who's in what category. So they get little labels next to their name to tell each other what categories themselves and other drivers are in. It helps them identify the battles they kind of need to get involved in. That's not to say you can't battle for overall position, but points-wise, it is more important that you are passing drivers within your category. Back towards the front. Shorter completes another lap here. Their back markers in the distance just ahead of Chris Shorter at the moment. He's got a 2.7 second lead. Consistently quicker at the moment, but Stephen Bird seems to be putting in good pace. He's got a good trail of cars ahead of him, a good amount of slipstream, and is keeping well within touch of these drivers ahead. One of them's his teammates, so it's two teams against each other. Next Gen and Benji Sim Photos versus Yorkshire Mafia Racing. Oh, Mark Sykes has had an incident. Let's see if we can cut to him. He hasn't. He's heading out of the pits. So, for some reason, Mark Sykes, who was having a good start to this race... that's the trouble with Road America. You're heading out to the pits, you're straight out on the track, and it gets real close. We saw Jamie Dory earlier on get close to another car heading into turn number 1. And this is a close battle here. Well in the mid-pack. This runs from 11th place down to 15th place at the moment, so a 5-car trail headed by Marcelo Felix and trailed by Ben Altria. It's a stop right in the middle of it. Got Alan McCain right behind him. McCain, who had didn't have the best of rounds last time out at Fuji. Nice and clean at the moment. 12th place for him, so good points for him. Stock seems to be slipping back a little bit in this last half a lap or so from Jamie Dory. He's having a good battle with Felix up ahead. Felix went a little bit wide, heading out the kink there. Seems to have gotten away with it. But this is how tricky Road America can be. It's so tempting to push over the edge on this track. It's so tempting. It's such a fun roller coaster type track that you want to push even harder through these corners. That's what I reckon the drivers are finding here. Clouding over a little bit here on Road America. Now, I've got a new PC, so I can cope with the wet weather now. Bring it on, I'd say. But I did see the forecast. I did cheat and look at the forecast, actually, and I got a feeling there might be rain towards the end of this race here. Now, they are back markers behind Chris Shorter. They were Mark Baker and is it Jochen Seeger? Yeah, Jochen Seeger of the ECO team. Involved in that lap 1 instance, so they are more than a lap down at the moment, which is unfortunate for them. And they'll be given the blue flags very shortly as Gaz Williams and Ben McCluskey make their way towards them. Side by side between Jamie Dory and Marcelo Felix again. Felix is on the inside, but he tucks back in behind Jamie Dory. He's in front. Oh, nearly a little bit wide heading into turn number 5, and that draws in Nigel stuck there, taking a little bit of grass on the way out of the corner just to make sure he gets the whole width of the road and more. Oh, and something's happened to Stephen de Gravelia. He's running slow there, so he's ran off wide, I believe at turn 5 there, so he was in front of Andy Rooney at this point. The car's a bit sideways. He nearly spun it. He just about avoids the barrier, the safer barrier, and he loses the position to Andy Rooney as a result. So pushing a little bit too hard through turn number 5. He now loses the lead of the race. There's 2 seconds behind Andy Rooney, who won the feature race, the last race of this season, this championship, and now holds the lead in this race in the bronze category. In the silver category, Oosthuizen still leads. He's got a nice buffer ahead of 2 gold category drivers holding up Nigel Stock, so he's nice and safe in the first position in category at the moment. It's still a 4-way trail Well, actually, I say that. Stephen Bird and Martin Hobson look like they've slipped back a little bit, and I think there may have been a position swap between the two of them. Stephen Bird now in 4th, Martin Hobson now in 5th. And they are the ECO drivers we were just looking at previously. They are behind, and they are back markers, so they won't get involved in this battle too much. McCluskey and Gaz Williams getting close together. At this point they might be thinking, well, let's just work together, let's just bring in the points. At the same time, will they? McCluskey's leading the championship. You want to beat Gaz Williams, you want to keep the lead in the championship. Oh, we have got something happen to Nigel Stock. He's off the road there, Nigel Stock. So in the last lap, it's all gone wrong for my team. Oh no. But this is what happened to Nigel Stock. That's Alan McCain behind him. In front of him is Felix. Quite a dive to the inside. Oh, and there's contact between him and Alan McCain. Round he goes. And that sends him back so many positions. 6th place now in category. Behind James McCluskey and down to 22nd overall. He'll be angry about that. It's down to the stewards to decide what happened in that instant, but Nigel Stock might feel that, well, I was just hit from behind. That might be how he feels. But the other party might say, well, you went across me. That's normally the arguments that happen in iRacing. So, down to the stewards. Bronze category here. Keep a merry eye on them. Andy Rooney's closing in on the silvers here. We've got a good gap to Stephen de Gravelia back here, who's got a gap to Elwyn Sykes, who's missing his front bumper, so he's doing well considering, and he's under a little bit of pressure from Gabriel Papaconstantino here. But for some reason Elwyn Sykes is missing his front bumper. It might have been from that first lap incident, but he must be losing grip, he must be losing top end speed. So bravo to be driving the car in that kind of state. It does affect you quite severely on iRacing. It does, bodywork damage. Now the damage model is much more advanced than it was back in my day. Okay, so let's stick to this battle for the time being as we're into the final quarter of this race. McCluskey right on the rear of Gaz Williams. I just wonder if he is planning a move. I just wonder if he is. Stephen Bird closes in, but it's such close quarters between this quarter of drivers. Taking different lines through the carousel. It's one of the corners where you can alternate your lines to try and get the better of the other drivers around you, in front and behind. Through the kink. Crucial corner on this track. You get a good run through the kink and it sets you up for this straight heading up to Canada corner. Very satisfying we can get these corners right here at Road America. There'll be 2 laps to go when they pass the start-finish gantry. Chris Shorter. Easy meet at the moment for him. 6.2 seconds clear. Jeffrey Kruger up to 3rd place now with Nigel Stock falling down the order. Got Aaron Hobson directly in front of him, but Matthew Addy is pulling away a little bit from this pack, and Kruger has got company behind him in the form of Baz Meacham. Baz would be keen to get himself onto the podium. Didn't get a huge haul of points out last time outdid Meacham, whereas Kruger did, so Meacham would be keen to get more points on the board, get his championship back on track. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, something I haven't mentioned yet tonight or in this championship is the drivers do get a drop round, and it will be applied to any of the rounds 1 to 9, and it will automatically be applied to the worst championship score of each driver of those rounds 1 to 9. So it means they can afford to miss a round, but it also means they can afford to have a bad round. Oh, as Kruger's late on the brakes and he had to really push that brake pedal even harder to avoid the rear of Hobson then. He got away with it, but behind also, Meacham's under a little bit of pressure from Ben Bennyworth as well. Bennyworth 16th. I believe that'll be 0 point. Yeah, you've got to be 15th or higher to score points in category. So he'll want to get up towards Aaron Hobson just so he can get a point on the board. The outgoing silver category champion. Back to the bronzes. Rooney has a comfortable lead of 5 seconds from Stephen de Gravelli. Is out on his own. Similar kind of victory, it seems, to Chris Shorter up the road, it seems. Oh, and something's happened to Gabriel Papaconstantino there. He's gone a little bit wide and he's relinquished that third spot to Elwyn Sykes. And this is what happened to the Cypriot driver. A little bit wide there, going through the left-hander, but into Carousel. He's pushed a bit too hard there and he's not able to get the car slowed down. Oh, how he's able to keep it away. He did touch the gravel, but how he's able to keep it away from getting buried in the gravel there is some going. He just about hangs on to 4th place in this race, but it promotes Elwyn Sykes, Mr. No Bumper, to 3rd place. Battles going on in this mid-pack here. Oosthuizen right in the middle of it amongst the gold category drivers. He's got Alan McCain right behind him. In front of him is Ben Altra, Marcelo Felix and Jamie Dory. Altra is joining this battle between Dory and Felix. And we've got McCain looking all over the rear of... no, sorry, we have got another driver, a backmarker, looking all over the rear of Oosthuizen, who moves over for Alan McCain and for Matthew Cheverton. They'll be pleased about that because they're on the final lap now. It's their final opportunity to either keep positions or gain positions in this race. And at this point, a lot of drivers will be thinking, well, I'll have a reverse grid spot. A lot of drivers will be thinking, nah, I fancy getting another spot and more points in this championship. Stock has passed Smagaskale. Oh, he was close contact-wise, and there's a flashing light there from Smagaskale. He might not be happy about something Stock did. We'll go back to our leader very shortly. Let's just see what happened between the two here. Oh, near contact there. And a dive to the inside from Stock. Guarding the inside was Smagaskale, and Stock does go to the inside. There is contact between the two, but Stock can put on more contact as they carry on, so they might have a bit of words with each other at the end of this race. A little bit of Matt Neal and Jason Plato there. But Chris Shorter, dominant race here. A great debut to the championship for the South African. It's first place in the sprint race for him at Road America tonight. Winner of the gold category. Gaz Williams and Ben McCluskey will cross the line in a near photo finish for 2 and 3 for Next Gen Racing with Benji Sim Photos. Kyle Oosthuizen will cross the line. Under the bridge he goes. It's a first place in silver again for Kyle. It's 2 sprint race wins for him already this season. Matthew Addy will cross the line with 2nd place to his name. And Jeffrey Kruger, 3rd place, our outgoing bronze category champion, doing very well in the silvers to take another podium in category. Bronze category, Andy Rooney takes another win. He won the feature race last time out at Fuji, and he takes a win here. Stephen de Gravelli will be annoyed with himself. He'll feel he probably could have won that, or at least battle for the win with Rooney, but it's 2nd place for him in this sprint race. And Elwyn Sykes, the man with no front bumper, somehow takes 3rd place despite the damage on his car. A brilliant drive from him to get that 3rd place, it must be said. But our outright winner is Chris Shorter in the CSA Team Pass-Up Mustang. Very interesting race indeed, and we'll run back to look at the dramas of lap 1, see if we can capture what actually happened there at the start of that race. It cost a lot of drivers race, actually. I'll have a little sniff on Discord, see if there's any drivers in there. Don't tell anyone eavesdropping. No, actually, no arguments yet, which is nice. But a lot of drivers Making moves in that race. Let's see who gained the most places in that race, actually. Within overall positions, for some reason category growth is not working for us, but Gabriel Papaconstantino gained 19 overall places in that race. So he came through the pack to finish 4th in category, but he's come through the pack from something like 45th on the grid or something like that to finish 26th, which is incredible for the cyclic driver. Incredible performance. By far the biggest gainer of the field, actually, in overall positions. Might have been a bit helped by lap 1, might have been, but still, you've got to keep yourself out of trouble in racing, and that's what he's done. As the drivers head back to the pits, let's take a look at the results of this race. We'll start with the gold category. It is Chris Shorter who takes the win by 7 seconds ahead of Gaz Williams and Ben McCluskey. Stephen Bird takes 4th position, with his teammate behind in 5th position. Gavin Gardner 6th, battling with Mike Barber for the majority of the race. Jake Pitt 8th position with Jamie Dory behind in 9th, and Marcelo Felix rounding off the top 10. Oucher and McCain 11th and 12th, with Cheverton, Simpson and Hobson rounding off the point scoring positions in the gold category. No points to Ben Bennyworth, Ian Manners and Sean Shute. Silver category, and it's a win for Oosthuizen. Another CSA win, actually, in this race. So first place for Carl, and his 2nd win of the season. Matthew Addy in 2nd position, with Jeffrey Kruger in 3rd position. Baz Meacham in 4th, with Nigel Stock, who was 2nd place for the majority of that race there, falls down to the 5th position. James McGaskill in 6th position, with Kevin Smith in 7th. Craig Tillotson in 8th. Paul Walsh, the NXTGEN Touring Car Championship commentator, 9th position for him in his Mustang, with Mark Baker rounding off the top 10. Jochen Seeger and Wesley Lewin in 11th and 12th, and rounding off the point scoring positions if they finished this race, which some of them I believe didn't. We've got Mike Reedner, Harley Bicknell and Mark Kent. I believe the latter two did not score points as they did not finish the race. Bronze category, it's a win for Andy Rooney. 2nd win on the trot in this championship and a good start to his championship. Stephen de Gravelia, a better race for him than Fuji, but he will definitely feel he may have challenged for the win in that race. Elwyn Sykes, 3rd position with a very heavily damaged car. And Gabriel Papaconstantino with a big gain up the field throughout that race to finish 4th position in category. Gabriel Yilmaz in 5th position on his debut, with Robert Savage in 6th position, Adam Wilson-Weir in 7th, Jonathan Berry in 8th, John Meredith in 9th, and rounding off the top 10 in category is Andy Chell, who I believe was involved in the first lap drama. Mark Sykes in 11th, with Stein Vatens and Nathan Lewis Stone not finishing the race. So, we're going to head back to the start of this race, and we'll see how quickly our replay goes back to the start of this race. And it's going to be a little bit tricky to pick out where the incident might have been, actually. We'll head back towards the bronze part of the field. In fact, let's take a look with Andy Chell here. So Andy Chell is one of the Quatermass drivers there, the gradient blue, turquoise and green car in there. The one I think in the centre of our screen. So we've started the race here. Oh. And there was an incident further up there. Let's see if we can get in close to that. So let's run this in a little bit. So there was contact there. And there was a car pushed just back there. I think that was Paul Walsh making contact with one of the CS. Yeah, and that's... So the incident's mostly caused by an instance... Yeah, it's not giving us track position relative to what we've seen here. So there we go. This is the driver we're looking at. It's Mark Baker, who had a little push from, I think it is Paul Walsh. Just giving him a little push here. Yeah, Paul Walsh a bit late on the brakes. And that's what caused this all to start, really. And it just concertinas then. A lot of drivers having to stamp on the brakes. A lot of the Quatermass drivers were actually involved in that. You can see there. There we go. So, yeah, it's a tricky track to start on here because it's a heavy braking zone into turn 1. It's narrow. There's a lot of drivers gaggled together. It's very difficult to see your braking point as well. So a lot of that would have happened in that. That's why it would have concertinaed up for all the drivers heading into that turn number 1. But there we go. That's been the opening sprint race of the night. We have got a feature race coming up very, very shortly in about, it'll be about 15-20 minutes time. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go for a quick break while we wait for the next server, the next race to boot up. And that will be a 60 minutes feature race where we will see pit stops and strategy at play in this race. Hopefully we see some bad weather. Let's just see. Hopefully. But yeah, we're going to go away for a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back soon with that second race of the night. Don't go away.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the Everitt Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Hello and welcome to Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Road America for round 2 of the Next Gen GT3 League Season 6. And this is the Thursday night iteration league of Next Gen Racing, proudly sponsored by the following: PowerMax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design, Moser Racing, and Only Racing, who are providing the prize to the winner of this championship of £500 store credits to use in their online store. If you wish to get involved in Next Gen Racing, whether it's this league or other leagues, or if you just wish to keep an eye on the Discord channel for all the communications, banter, and everything going on in Next Gen Racing, feel free to join the Next Gen Discord server via the QR code in the bottom left of our screen here. This championship features many different formats, and tonight we are racing on the sprint race and feature race format. Upcoming in the next couple of minutes, we'll be starting the 60-minute feature race, which will be a 60-minute race, but it will also feature pit stops as well. One pit stop per driver is the optimal strategy in these feature races, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting indeed. This is the calendar. We're in round 2 at the moment. Last week we were at Fuji in Japan, and we've flown over the Pacific to come here to Road America. We're going to be flying over the Atlantic for next week, as we're heading to Monza for the first of 3 endurance rounds of the championship at the brilliant theatre of speed that is Monza. So that's going to be a very, very interesting round indeed. Suzuka will host round 4 of the championship with Catalonia, rounding off the first half of the season. We'll kick off the second half of the season at the Green Hell, the Nordschleife, for the second of 3 endurance rounds of the championship. 3 sprint and feature race formats in a row to see out that format for the season and see us into the second half of the season. And that will be Zolder, Interlagos and Nürburgring GP circuit. And we'll end with an endurance at Daytona Road Course. So, we have a feature race coming up very shortly. And the winners of race 1 were Chris Shorter in the gold category, Oosthuizen in the silver category, and in the bronze category was Andy Rooney. We'll see how they can how they will get on in the next race coming up very shortly. And hurrah, our liveries are working on the overlay now, which is a small celebration for me. They weren't working in the first race because I've recently rebuilt my PC, so that's why it's running so crisp and smooth tonight, which is quite nice. So, yeah, the first race, there was a big drama in the form of the opening lap. I'm rather surprised it wasn't a safety car called. Mind you, in this series compared to the next-gen touring car series, there's no live steward here. So, yeah, it's... And also, they're relatively longer tracks, and the races are a little bit more, like, long-term, I'll call them. So, safety cars are a little bit less prominent in series such as GT3 racing. So that would be why a safety car wasn't called in that first race. I'm not saying it should have been, but I was half expecting it based on what I've seen in the touring cars in the past. We hadn't seen an incident quite like that in this series while I've been commentating it anyway. So it was rather interesting, actually, that happened. So here we go. We're going to start the feature race very shortly. The cars will grid up. We'll show you the grid for this final race of the night. Gavin Gardner, no, we'll refresh that. We have not, that is not our grid. There we go. Ian Manners will start on pole position as he finished at the back of the gold in race 1. Ben Bennyworth will line up second position with Aaron Hobson in third. Fourth will be Edwin Simpson with fifth place taken up by Matthew Cheverton. Alan McCain will line up 6th with Ben Oucher in 7th and Marcelo Felix in 8th. Jamie Dorey and Jake Pitt will line up on the 5th row with Mike Barber and Gavin Gardner following. Martin Hobson 13th with Stephen Bird in 14th. Ben McCluskey and Gaz Williams line up on the 8th row. Chris Shorter will start 17th with Sean Shute in 18th. Mike Reedner will start first of the silver category drivers with Wesley Lewin in 20th position. Jochen Seeger and Mark Baker in 22nd position. Paul Walsh and Craig Tillotson 23rd and 24th with Kevin Smith and James Pagaskale on the 13th row. Nigel Stock and Baz Meacham will line up on the 14th row with the 15th row taken up by Jeffrey Kruger and Matthew Addy. Carl Oosthuizen, winner of the first race in 31st with Harley Bicknell in 32nd. The bronze category drivers now grouped together. Mark Sykes will start 33rd with Andy Challen 34th. John Meredith and Jonathan Berry on the 18th row. 19th row taken up by Adam Wilson-Weir and Robert Savage. Gabriel Yilmaz and Gabriel Papaconstantino on the 20th row. Elwyn Sykes, Stephen de Gravelia and Andy Rooney, the top 3 from the previous race, will start 41st, 2nd and 3rd, and the final 2 will be taken up by Stein Vatens and Nathan Lewis-Stone. There we go, we made it, ladies and gentlemen, we made it to the end of the grid. For our short run to the line, as it always is in the Next Gen Racing League. So we're heading up towards the line. That is Ian Manners, pole position in this race. They'll maintain safety car speed until the lights will go green and we'll start the 1 hour race, the feature race for round 2 here. Our 4th race of the season. It is Ian Manners and Ben Bennyworth on the front row here, and away we go for the next race of the night. Now the good thing about this race is the categories are grouped together and they're separated by 3 seconds each. So the silvers will get underway now, away they go. And the bronzes further back. Into turn number 1 we go. Oh, and there's a spin from Ian Manners already. Into the wall he goes. And from pole position straight to the back already. He is well down in this race. Whereas the silver category, Wesley Lewin leads it away into turn number 3 and over to the bronzes. Sykes will lead them into turn number 1. But what about... Oh, and there's a car off in the background. There's loads of cars off in the background I just saw. Wilson Weir was one of them. Off he goes, and I think John Meredith as well. Let's see if we can get a quicker snap of that before we rejoin the racing elsewhere. So there's Wilson Weir and John Meredith is here. Into turn number 1 we'll go. We'll start braking now. Oh, and I think that's Wilson Weir. Yeah, he goes across, and actually it's Meredith who lost it himself, but Wilson Weir luckily avoided everyone else. He just broke too late for the corner. Now let's get back to the live action. Hobson leads from Simpson, so Hobson's taken the lead in this race very early on here as Ian Manners dropped down the order. Now we could get a replay of Ian Manners losing out at the start of that race. In fact, let's try it here. Let's try it. So this is the run down to turn number 1. Ian Manners is at the front here. And that's going to be Aaron Hobson moving behind him. There is contact between Hobson and Ian Manners. And round goes Manners. and that'll be a damaged car. He'll have to go to the pits. But Hobson continues. He leads this race. Meanwhile, back here, we have got Bennyworth, who just made his way past Alan McCain for 5th position. And they'll head through the final corner to complete this lap. It is Hobson who leads in the golds. Jochen Seeger leads in the silvers. We haven't mentioned much of him this season so far. Hasn't been the best of starts for him, but it's a good start to this race. Nigel Stock, who had drama in race number 1, is in 3rd place in category at the moment. And our race 1 winner in the silver category, Oosthuizen, is 5th in category. Our winner in the golds in race number 1, Chris Shorter, is here in 16th. Now, what we saw in race 2 last time out is Ben McCluskey won both races, but it took him a long time to get through the pack in that second race last time out. It's a little bit trickier this season than what it was last season in the prototypes and the GT3s because the categories are bigger. Here are the categories grouped together on our timing tower on the left here. Move between Gavin Gardner and Mike Barber on his outside there. Sorry, that's Stephen Bird alongside him. Stephen Bird's losing out there. Loses to Mike Barber as well. And we've also got Hobson versus McCluskey here. McCluskey getting very out of shape on the outside there. Side by side through turn number 7 there. And it is a good completed move by Martin Hobson. Up here, side by side between Marcelo Felix and Alan McCain, and Jamie Dory and Jake Pitt are being held up here as they enter the carousel. A very difficult corner to go side by side through, and it was a little bit of side to side contact between Felix and McCain. Felix is hanging on around the outside though until the exit of the corner. McCain makes it through and into 6th position through the kink. Important exit from this corner needed as we head towards Canada corner. Moving in is Felix, but he doesn't make the move on McCain just yet. Silver category, they're relatively split up at the moment. And Jochen Seeger will be keen to keep this lead at the moment. He's got Baz Meacham breathing down behind him. Different lines through the corner there. Different cars do often breed different lines. And Jamie Dory's wide there, heading out of the final corner. Let's just see what happened to Jamie Dory there. He's at the back of the golds now, bar Ian Manners. Now, it might have been a move on Felix in the yellow car in front, which triggered it. Blinking it out of existence. And was Jamie Dory. He just brushes wide onto the grass, and that sends him out. There was no contact at all, in fact. Well, look at this. Pitt side by side with Barber as they head round. Pitt is in the green car. In the yellow Verano Motorsport car is Mike Barber. And Barber's lost out on the exit there, and he might lose out to Stephen Bird as well. Bird might even look to the inside of Jake Pitt here as we head down to turn number 5. Pitt guards the inside very cleverly there. And actually, Mike Barber had a good run through the outside there. And let's see what happens on the outside here heading into turn number 6. Can Barber hang on to it? He's going to have the inside for the next corner. Had to compromise a little bit of speed through turn number 6 there, but 7, he has the inside and he stays in front. Instance further back, I think. I did say we had an incident for Mike Reedner and Andy Chell, so let's just check in on them. Reedner in the bronze category for the ECO team. Runs wide there, that's not a crash, that's just him moving out of the way of other cars. And Andy Chell, something might have happened to him. Oh, he spins it, clocks the inside of the grass, and has to stamp on the brakes to hold the car off the racing line. And we've also got Stein Vatens has had an incident. He's also in the bronze category, so it's all happening for them at the moment. We'll catch up with them soon. Ah, and a light spin there, just couldn't quite hold on to the rear as it was moving through turn number 6 then. So let's get back to the bronze category. Mark Sykes of Sykes Design, Mark Sykes Designs, leads the bronze category. He was high up in the order in the previous race. Something happened to him that dropped him down the order. He's got a healthy-ish lead ahead of Jonathan Berry and Stephen de Gravelia at the moment. Now, de Gravelia will feel he should have won race 1. This is his opportunity to get more points from a win in this race, and he's got an opportunity to do so now. Andy Rooney hasn't moved through the pack as much as he'd like. Stephen de Gravelia is up 13 overall positions. Andy Rooney only 7, but it is a long race here. at Road America. Back to the gold category. We're heading out of turn number 3 there and heading down Moraine Sweep towards turn number 5. And it's got very cloudy above us. It's got a little bit dark on the screen for us here, ladies and gentlemen. Rain? Maybe? Who knows? Who knows? Let's see what happens. Hobson leading and doing very well so far. He's got Edwin Simpson for company behind him in the BMW. Safe to say he's the one holding up Ben Altria and Matthew Sheraton at the moment. And the category's a little bit divvied up at the moment. The hard chargers that I would refer to as the Stephen Bird, Hobson, McCluskey, Shorter and Williams, they're all line astern from 11th downwards. This is Stephen Bird. Not a privateer, is racing for Yorkshire Mafia Racing. Right behind the Verana Motorsport car of Mike Barber. His teammate is behind the aforementioned Bird. Hobson behind there. They were running close together in race number 1, so good teamwork between them two, it seems, thus far in this round. Shorter is behind McCluskey at the moment. That will please McCluskey. He can get points on his incoming rival. That's good for him. Comes to the championship. Gaz Williams fallen a little bit behind, but he's within reach still, it's got to be said. Now Meacham's into 2nd place. Now Jochen Siegert was leading. Let's see if something happened to Siegert a bit earlier on. Yeah, Siegert's gone off the track a little bit earlier on. Now this is heading towards turn number 1. That's Baz Meacham behind Siegert in the blue, white and red car. To the inside goes Meacham for the lead. Oh, and Meacham brushed a little bit wide, and that caught Siegert off guard a little bit. He runs wide. Here comes Nigel Stock. Doesn't make the move. Excuse me. But Siegert has dropped down to 5th place in category. Promoting Stock, Kruger and Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen, 3 times a winner in this... 2 times a winner in this category already this season. Picked up 3rd place as he makes a move. Not for position there. That was on a back marker. But Oosthuizen is definitely the one that everyone's got their eyes on in this silver category now, with 2 wins under his belt and a near win in the feature race last time out at Fuji. But Meacham versus Stock here, and Jeffrey Kruger, got to take your hats off to him. He dominated bronze category last season, but he's gone straight into silver category and he's got stuck in. He's not intimidated at all by this category. He is trying absolutely brilliantly out there and is putting in good results. Out of tonight, it might be possible that he could be 2nd in the championship depending on the results of this race. But him and Oosthuizen very, very strong in this silver category at the moment. Nigel Stock has been involved in an incident here, there and everywhere it seems so far in this season, and he'll be really keen for a good result in this race. Him and Baz Meacham battling at the moment in the opening 20% of this race. Back to the top. Hobson's moving away from Simpson at the moment, and a time 4/10 quicker on that last lap for Hobson. So, he'll take that. He'll definitely take that. He'll want to get further and further in front as we see McCain to the inside of Ben Bennyworth moving into turn number 3. Bennyworth not giving him much room, and actually sideways goes McCain. Stamp on the brakes. Even I'm holding on the brakes there to make the one in my rig right now and just stay out of the tyres there. And Alan McCain, more bad luck. Down the order he goes. He's moved behind Jamie Dory and Gaz Williams there. Gaz Williams, he's just in front of Jamie Dory, who's now going to pass him, potentially heading into turn number 5. They are technically teammates, but through will go Jamie Dory and McCain. More places lost. Now, let's see if we can get a quick replay. Oh, hang on. He's stopping to the side here. What's happening to Alan McCain here? I just wonder if he's moving out the way because of other drivers. And Jamie Dory's dropping down the order as well. He's moved behind a lot of drivers. I just wonder if his tactics change. Is he going to help another driver? Maybe. He has just slotted himself right in between Mark Sykes, leader of the bronze category, his teammate, and Stephen de Gravelia here, second in the bronze category. So if we switch this back to overall, you'll see right in between Sykes and de Gravelia there is McCain. Now I wonder if that's a tactical next-gen decision there to help out other drivers in their team. There's nothing saying you can't do that. But is that the tactic here? Now let's just get another snap of Alan McCain's instant there with Bennyworth. He was to the inside. This gives us a good view. The sea, yeah, it gets close. Oh, yeah. It's hard to tell if it was contact, but there was a little bit of a wiggle from the Porsche of Alan McCain there. That set off another wiggle of the car, and that's what sent the car into motion of sliding and spinning subsequently. So a very difficult one to judge that. One for the stewards, as it usually is. Marcelo Felix, source of a lot of entertainment in race number 1, it's got to be said. Privateer in this series, very much on his own amongst a field of drivers who are in teams. Good point in the comments there by a name that I am not going to attempt to pronounce because it's just a bunch of letters. But yeah, well pointed out actually, Jay, I'll call you. I believe McCain waited because he spanned the other driver around. Yes, that's a very good point. Yes, that would be what McCain was doing. Or we could just pretend like he's doing team tactics and trying to help out his other teammate in the bronze category. That's much more fun to believe. But yeah, that might have been the actual truth when he said that. So, back to the gold category front here. Hobson has dropped a few tenths to Simpson behind. So a couple of laps ago, Hobson was leading by about 1.4 seconds. It's down to 7 tenths again. No DRS on these cars, so the minus 1 second gap is insignificant to a degree in this variation of racing. But it does mean that Simpson is close. He's also got to watch his guard here. He has got Cheverton and Ben Alcher right behind him. All three of these drivers in different teams. You've got Full Tilt, who were last season's team's champions. You've got Aztec Racing, who are a very strong contingent of drivers in this series, in the third place here. CSA, who are having a very dominant night, and actually a dominant championship so far, in Edwin Simpson here, and Yorkshire Mafia Racing at the front here. So 4 different teams battling amongst one another. Lurking in the wings is Marcelo Felix. He'll be hoping the 4 up front here can battle a bit more, and therefore he can get involved. Fastest lap of the race has been set by Ben McCluskey here. He's still in front of Shorter, and actually we've got to switch to the silvers because Nigel Stock is moving into the lead. Past Baz Meacham, but to his inside goes Jeffrey Kruger. Outbrakes the Brit into turn number 3, and Stock getting a bit squirrely on the exit there. But he is past Baz Meacham, but doesn't gain places because Kruger is straight past and into first place. So let's get a quick snap of that if we can see it again. So let's start with Nigel Stock passing Baz Meacham along the straight here. Takes to the inside. I sure do hope nothing happens in the race here. So he holds the inside, and actually Baz Meacham might have been a bit late on the brakes. He has to stamp on the brakes even more to get it round turn number 1. But Kruger had a great exit and moves to the inside of Stock for turn number 3 here. That's a brilliant execution from Kruger to take the lead in the silver category in this race. Kruger in the McLaren, Stock in the Ferrari has backed off a little bit here. He might have had a bad exit from turn number 8 there. And another CSA driver lurking behind this top 3 here. It's our sprint race winner, Oosthuizen, in 19th overall here. It could be a 4-way battle, and 2 of those drivers are in the same organisation. CSA. Baz Meacham represents Fuzzy Racing, but very much a privateer in this championship. He's the only one in that team, and that's a car off to the side. That's Adam Wilson Weir off the track there, just getting out of the way of other drivers, making sure he's not in the way of other battles in other categories on other laps. Up here we got a side-by-side between Gabriele Papaconstantino and James Smagascale. Smagascale is through. They're not battling for category points, but Papaconstantino, a very good first race, moved up the order a lot of positions. 5th place currently in this race. Our biggest mover of the field at the moment anyway is Stephen de Gravelia. Very much on his own at the moment out on the track, but he's second in category. He's moved up 15 overall places from his starting position. Alan McCain, after his spin a few laps ago, trying to make some ground back. He might decide a tactical pit stop to try and get the upper hand of other cars further up, but he needs a lot of help here to catch back up with the pack. Back to this silver category, which is incredible to watch at the moment. Kruger heads it from stock, from Meacham and Oosthuizen. And it's great to see an inter-category battle split 4 ways, and Stock's struggling a little bit in turn 8 there. He seems to be dropping off the back of Kruger heading through turn number 8, and that invites in Baz Meacham, but he sorts it out for the rest of the lap, it seems. It's just turn number 8 he can't quite get. Now there is a car running slow to the side here. That's Matthew Addy. Something's happened to him. Got a little snap of it here. Or was it a snap at the rear end? It's heading into turn number 8. We were just watching Nigel Stock struggle through there. And his car's off to the side there. Oh, and there's contact. A Verano Motorsport car involved in that as well. I think that's Jochen Seeger. It is, and he gets turned around. Jochen Seeger. Now let's get a shot of Jochen Seeger, see what happened to him as well. Just ahead of him. Oh, beg your pardon. That is another ECO driver, and Jochen Seeger goes off himself, and that collecting him. Couldn't quite figure out who that was, but into the wall he goes. It's been a miserable race for Jochen Seeger. It started off promising. It hasn't quite gone the way he wanted. But Matthew Addy now drops a lot of positions as a result, and I think he's got a little bit of damage on the front of that Porsche. It's a mangled front end there, and that will affect his aerodynamics, and he'll mean he'll have to get a fast repair on that car when he heads into the pits. A good first race for him, but second race is not quite adding up here for him. Mark Sykes is having a great little race here. 12 overall places he's moved up to so far. 21st for him, and he's got a lot of cars between him and his nearest rival, Stephen de Gravelia, who's all the way back here, as you can see. A lot of cars to get through. Although the time isn't too bad, the cars between him and the leader in the bronze category are significant. So Sykes moving through there, and that's Kevin Smith just behind him, and Alan McCain on his outside now. Couldn't quite make the move. Alan McCain is pretty much fighting his own race now, as we've alluded to earlier. Harley Bicknell there, 6th place in category, so good haul of points for him potentially out of tonight. But Sykes, head down, just got to get on with the job. He's in a very good position to try for this bronze category win tonight. I haven't picked on the gold category for a little while here, so let's take another look. But yeah, Hobson, we just saw getting well out of shape there was Edwin Simpson. Hobson is leading this race, and Simpson getting very much out of shape there. You can tell how much he's pushing. He's just over half a second behind Hobson as they cross the line. It will go below half a second, as you can see there, as they cross the line, because he's got the slipstream. But also back here, we have got McCluskey making, Shorter making moves on McCluskey. This is significant. This is the top 2 cats of the championship. And who is the main cat? It is Chris Shorter at the moment. We've also got Gardner and Bennyworth side by side. Bennyworth missed out on points in the first race. He's definitely going to pick up more in this race, but he's against the big uns here as Stephen Bird is looking around to try and make a move. Bennyworth has got to try and keep his place in front of Gardner and guard off from Stephen Bird. Hanging on there was Gardner. He really hammered it around the outside of turn number 5 there. Holds the outside, but he's going to wash out wide. Bennyworth might be safe for the time being here. And Gardner was under a little bit of trouble from Bird, but he just about keeps it. Heading into the next corner, Gardner has got to guard the inside because Bird had a much better exit. Wiggling under the brakes there as he touched the grass and it lost the rear end. That allows Shorter through and potentially McCluskey. And look to the inside and the back there, the green car of Jake Pitt looking for a move as well. So Bird has lost a bit of ground there with a small mistake heading out of turn number 6. Heading into turn number 8. And that allows Shorter up more places. It's a long way for him to get back to the top. Shorter is actually only 5 seconds off top spot. It actually is more than possible for him, all the likes of McCluskey and Gaz Williams or Stephen Bird, to get up to that top spot. Plenty of time left in this race, plus pit stops. We saw a lot of drivers really utilising undercuts last time out at Fuji, and one of them might be doing it now. That's Stephen Bird straight into the pits. He is going to try a varied strategy here to get himself into open air, get some good laps in, and try and get himself in front of the rest of the pack. Jeffrey Kruger is also in the pits. He was leading the silver category until he had just came into the pits. Now, he will end up in open air, and he'll use that as an attempt to try and get further ahead of his rivals, Stock and Oosthuizen. Now, where's Baz Meacham gone? Has he pitted already? Yeah, Baz Meacham pitted already, so he took an early pit stop. That might be what Jeffrey Kruger is covering off. So it'd be interesting to see where Baz Meacham comes, where Jeffrey Kruger heads out of the pit in relation to Baz Meacham here. There is Kruger still in his box, heading out of the box now. There's Meacham. He's going to move straight past Kruger. Now wow. He has romped past Kruger. Meacham in open air for 2 laps has really got the advantage on Kruger there. I'm just checking if something's been missed here, because that's a lot of time lost. No, I do believe nothing's happened to Kruger out on the track. So that's interesting. That is a huge gap from Meacham to Kruger. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the rest of the field. In particular, Nigel Stock here, who's staying out, and he's got the silver category championship leader Oosthuizen right behind him, pushing hard. Now Oosthuizen will feel, you know what, I've got to get the hammer down and really getting some good laps to cover off an undercut here. And actually, there we go. He is now covering off an undercut. He knows it could be quicker. Stock stays out. There's a couple of other drivers in the pits as well. Ben Bennyworth, Marcelo Felix, Edwin Simpson, who was second on the track. Hobson still leads. Driving very well, it's got to be said. He's really holding off the gaps between him and the other drivers. But Chris Shorter has also been in the pits as well, has he? Potentially. A lot of drivers in the pits. A lot of the bronze drivers are now in the pits. Elwin Sykes stays out and takes the lead of the bronze category. But we've got Mark Sykes and Stephen de Gravelia in the pits. Now, de Gravelia will probably call the same hand as Mark Sykes here. Anything you do, I will do as well. So the Mark Sykes is potentially his only pit stop of the race. Is an important one as he now moves out of the box. De Gravelia now moves out of his. And there is quite a gap between the two. Now, Baz Meacham, there he is, and there's Oosthuizen. He has got himself in front of Baz Meacham. Now would be a very good time to pit for Nigel Stock. While Oosthuizen is warming up his tyres, Nigel Stock is on fresher tyres and can get himself in the pit after a nice clean lap here, presumably, and might be able to rejoin the track in front of Oosthuizen, because he was in front when Kyle came into the pits initially, and now they're battling them two. Meacham and Oosthuizen are battling. Into turn number 5 we go. Brilliant outside move potentially from Meacham. He has to slow down a little bit more on the exit, but heading into turn number 6 here. Meacham holds it round the outside, but I think... Oh, no, there's contact, and round goes Oosthuizen, the leader of the championship, and into the wall. Oh, the drama already in this race. Let's just get another replay of that from above, side by side, heading around turn number 6. Baz Meacham is just about still alongside. Oh, it's hard to, well, oof. He is by iRacing terms anyway, because there was contact eventually between the two. Oosthuizen may well feel he was past Meacham. He might have been relative to his mirrors. That's a tough one to call, but it has effectively ruined Oosthuizen's race, as he'll have to take a fast repair. There'll be too much damage on that car. He'll have to repair it. Nigel Stock's in the pits, though. It is straight up between Meacham and Nigel Stock now, as Kruger has fallen way behind. But Meacham would have been slowed down on that lap due to that battle and that incident. Cheverton has stayed out, and he's probably the last to pit. Nigel Stock heading out of the pits. Baz Meacham is there. Stock rejoins the track, leading the silver category. He's timed that pit stop just right. He might have gone until the fuel tank was empty, granted, but it's put him in a great position due to circumstances elsewhere on the track. Excuse me. Oh, Matthew Cheverton there, following Stephen Bird and Gavin Gardner. Simpson moves past Felix there. I might have just caught the back end of that move then. Let's just get another quick snap of that move. So Simpson to the outside at turn number 5. A little bit of an undercut there. Yeah, nice undercut there, heading into turn number 6. Later on the brakes, no, not quite. But wide goes Felix. He has to stamp on the brakes at the latter part of the corner. Through goes Simpson. Right, so who has pitted of these and who hasn't? In fact, says all pitted. So Simpson leads this race. It's mixed up a little bit in this goal category, actually. Gavin Gardner is way up the order, as he's side by side with Stephen Bird. Bird trying the inside going into Canada corner, but Gardner had a very good exit there. We'll have the inside for turn number 13 here. Through he goes. Bird is hanging on in front of Matthew Cheverton as well, who's also guiding off with Ben McCluskey. I'm not sure what's happened to our race 1 winner, Chris Shorter. He's out of the race. Chris Shorter, our race 1 winner, is out of the race. So something's happened to him somewhere. I haven't seen anything pop up on the events for him. So something's happened to him. Seen no incidents for him. No incidents, yeah. Scrolling through, absolutely nothing. So something has happened to our race 1 winner in the gold category, and that very much opens the floodgates for Ben McCluskey to get some championship points, and crucial championship points. And maybe even challenge for the win in this race, who knows? Gavin Gardner, Stephen Bird and McCluskey here are in a good spot to challenge for that win here. If they work together, which is very difficult for sim racers to do, they can catch up with Simpson and Felix potentially. Don't underestimate these guys' pace. Simpson was very good last season in the multi-class league, so he's not short of pace at all. And it's a 3+ second gap to this battle here. that is currently for third spot. Over to the silver category, Nigel Stock leads by 2 seconds from Baz Meacham. And Jeffrey Kruger lost time in the pits somehow. He's in third place there quite some time back. Mark Sykes still leads the bronze category, having a very, very good clinical race here, and he has a good buffer to Stephen Gravelia here in second place. Stephen won't mind this. Another second place for him is good championship points. And Andy Rooney is, I think, out of this race or taking repairs. Andy Rooney's out of this race, so our race 1 winner in the bronze category and the gold category are both out of this race. And we very nearly had a retirement for the silver category sprint race winner. The curse of the sprint race at Road America, maybe. Side by side here between Stephen Bird and Ben McCluskey. McCluskey has got newfound form. Now he knows his other rival in the previous race is out of the way. He's through on Stephen Bird, who is on his debut tonight and putting in a great performance tonight. McCluskey's up into 4th place and he's got his teammate in front of him, which must be very helpful. But he can make a charge now for that top spot. But I don't think Gardner's just going to let him have it. Gardner did win a race last season in the GT3 Golds. I think he did anyway. That he got a very strong second place at a significant race last season. It's one or the other. But he's looking strong this season, especially as Gavin Gardner. Hopefully can attend more races than what he did last season. He couldn't attend all of them. When he did turn up, he was having some good results. Turn number 8, and we'll head into turns 9 and 10 of the carousel here. 2.6 seconds between Gardner and Felix. So that gap is coming down very slowly, but we've got 26 minutes left of this race. Andy Rooney on YouTube. I got a DQ, didn't get a pit man when I pitted, then got a DQ for reversing. Oh no. Oh, that's rotten luck, Andy. I'm so sorry, mate. That's not what you need. That's definitely not what you need where iRacing's playing tricks on you. Yeah. There's a certain thing I like to say in commentary. I like to say the internet disconnection is the sim racing equivalent of your engine blowing up. But something like that happening is just a random bug on the car in real life. Just a real random, almost annoying, infrequent one happening. Sim racers get issues with things time to time as well, like the temperaments of cars. Down below 2 seconds now between Gardner and Felix. So, and Gardner, you can see heading out of turn number 1 there, was pushing real hard, brushing the grass as he came out of the corner. Him and McCluskey here have moved away from Stephen Bird, and they're going to work together, presumably, to catch up with that top 2. It's a brilliant opportunity here for these two drivers to get themselves 1 and 2 in this race. We'll keep a merry eye on that. Stock still leads in the silvers, 2.3 seconds clear. I'm in a group chat with Nigel, and he was really frustrated with race 1. So a win here would be great for his mental state, put it that way. Mark Sykes, leader of the bronze, 19th overall, which is great. Top half of the field in the bronze category. He's ahead of a lot of silver category drivers. And a very smart lime green or neon green livery there. Good race this has been for Mark Sykes. He did start high up the order, but he's pulling away from Stephen Gravelli and the rest of the bronze category. So he's got the pace, absolutely got the pace. And when he's got track position, he's doing it. He's absolutely doing it. Gotta give a shout out to this man here, Gabriel Yilmaz. Debut tonight and finished 4th as well, I believe, in race number 1. It's just from what I've seen anyway, has put a foot wrong tonight. And is just putting in good results, getting good points in his category on his debut. So, got to take your hats off. There's other drivers who are on their debut tonight you've also got to give credit to, not just Yilmaz. I mean, Stephen Bird in his debut tonight, getting stuck in straight away. Battling with McCluskey, battling with Shorter. Hats off to some of these new drivers. But don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, next week there is more news. More new things, shall I say. We've got the first endurance race of the season coming up next week at Monza. That is going to be fun. Monza endurance race. As we see up here, McCluskey makes the move on Gavin Gardner. That might have been Gardner backing off to let him through, as they are getting close to the two cars leading this race. Might be a tactical decision for next gen, you know. McCluskey, Benji, you are quicker. You go in front and lead the way. Go get him. Yes, next week, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, is the first endurance race of the season. Now, the endurance races work a little bit different. It's just the singular race of the night, but also in endurance rounds, we don't have qualifying. The grids for the endurance races are based on the championship standings of each category grouped, but they are reversed. So the leader heading out tonight in the gold category, it's safe to say it probably will be Ben McCluskey. He'll start at the back of the grid in the endurance race for the gold category. But based on what we've seen from McCluskey so far this season, he's doing a pretty fine job of getting through the pack in a 1 hour race, that is, let alone a 2. But Monza has the infamous turn 1. It's turn 1 on Monza. The Prima Variante, yes. The worst turn 1 in the world, it's got to be said, is at Monza. But the rest of the track is wonderful, isn't it? It's absolutely wonderful. But that turn 1 is going to be interesting with a near 50 car grid. Give us a like on this stream if you do agree with that claim, which is quite a... it's not a bold claim. It's almost fact. But we'll see how these drivers behave. We did see a little bit of a pile-up in race 1 here, going into turn 1 of this track, which is actually quite a notorious track for lap 1, turn 1 wrecks, as people like to call them. So McCluskey here. A lap ago, he passed Gardner, and within a lap, he is near the rear of second-place driver Marcelo Felix. Portuguese residents. Oh, getting squirrely out of turn number 7 there, and that brings in McCluskey, invites him in to take a look either side of the Portuguese driver. McCluskey had to change his line going through turn number 8 and has had to reshape the way he takes the carousel here, much later apex, but a good slipstream here from McCluskey might get him a move going into Canada corner. This is on board. Marcelo Felix looking back at Ben McCluskey. Here we go. Is this going to be a move? No, it's not. He backs out. And we'll try again at another corner. Simpson is pulling away ever so slightly. As a 1.2 second gap between Simpson and Felix. That might not be so bad for Ben McCluskey. It's clouding over again here at Road America. I just wonder if we are going to get a little bit of rain at any point in this race. Not sure. But that could be something very interesting to throw it into the mix here. Now, Ben McCluskey, historically, in this championship anyway, won a race last season by timing his pit stop when the weather came along at a crucial time. Last season at Road Atlanta. Oh, and that's a bad exit from Felix. Alongside will go McCluskey as we head down the Moraine sweep towards number 5. McCluskey's nose is in front. He's going to get a little bit of a push from Gavin Gardner. He'll have the outside going into 2 corners here. But he's got a good power around there. And actually Felix was too tight on the inside. That invites Gavin Gardner to potentially take 3rd. No, he doesn't. He backs out and he decides to try for another corner. But McCluskey's into 2nd place, crucially. And Felix is in trouble of losing a podium spot here with 18 minutes to go. The battle is on for 1st place potentially. It might take a lap or 2 for McCluskey to reel in Simpson. But already he's gapping Felix, is McCluskey, our championship leader. 2 times a winner this season of the 3 races we've had. Could be 3 from 4. And that could mean a 100% record in the feature races. But Simpson, it really is going to try his desperate hardest to just keep that 1st spot in the dire moments of this race. Gardner will be keen to get into 3rd place quickly so he can latch onto the back of McCluskey, keep up with him and try for 2nd in this race. Stephen Bird might be using Gardner here to try and go for a podium spot here. But any of these 5 drivers make that 6. Gaz Williams isn't that far away. Any of these 6 drivers can finish on the podium in this race now. In the bronze category, De Grevelier is closing in on Sykes, I believe. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. That's the gaps to the overall positions, not the categories. Let's keep an eye on Gardner here, closing in a little bit under the slipstream. Couldn't get the Ferrari close enough to the McLaren to make a move. McCluskey down to below a 2nd behind Simpson. I've been impressed with Felix's driving tonight. He's really taken it to these top gunners here. Getting stuck in here. And for the most part, touch wood that it carries on, the racing's been clean between these guys. It's really good. Really good. It's exciting though. Keep an eye on McCluskey. He's getting close. He's within 4/10 of Simpson now. Gardner is within 2/10 of Felix as we move towards Canada corner. No moves from either of the next gen drivers just yet. Oh, as Felix washes a little bit wide there. Gardner's looking all around but can't quite get alongside on that narrow section of the track. And McCluskey is so close to Simpson. This might be it on this straight here. Here we go, heading up the main straight, the start-finish straight, over the hill. McCluskey's close, real close, and he is reeling in Simpson in the BMW. He's going to make a move going in on the inside, heading into turn number 1. And Gardner's going for the inside, heading into turn number 1 on Felix, but can't quite complete it. I don't think the Ferrari has the top-end speed like the other cars have, because curiously, both had to back out of a lunging attempt into turn number 1. It seems real good out of the corners. Its initial torque to get up the straights is really good in that Ferrari. And I think that's what's helping him at this part. But the top end might not be there. But let's see what McCluskey can do. Is he going to be later on the brakes? Well, in fact, he's already got past. The BMW has lost out to the Ferrari that time on the straights. And into the lead goes McCluskey. And potentially on his way to 3 wins from 4 in this championship. Gardner still trying to find a way past Felix. Stephen Bird just sitting behind waiting, and Gaz Williams closing in behind. Let's take a look at the other categories and we'll come back to this very shortly. Nigel Stocks still leads the silver category, a big lead over Baz Meacham, who's back here. just in front of Ian Manners, who's got himself back up to 12th place. He started pole in this race in the golds, and he's dropped down to he dropped down well down the order, but he's made his way back up to 14th overall, 12th, and in the points crucially for the gold. So a pretty good comeback actually for Ian Manners. Sykes still leads the bronze category, and it's a big margin actually over Stephen de Gravelia. It says 5 seconds on the timing tower, but that is by position of overall, not by category. So Stephen de Gravelia very much, he was in a little bit of a potential battle between him and Gabriel Papaconstantino, who seems to be making a habit of really coming from far back to take on the drivers above him. But third place here, challenging for second place, is the only second Lamborghini driver in the field. McCluskey stretches a bit of a lead here, 7/10 clear. Simpson is just in and out of a second clear, and that's a car off on the side. That's Adam Wilson-Weir, but as we saw him on the side there, Gavin Gardner has had a good exit from turn number 3 or more. Marcel has had a bad exit from turn number 3, and that gets Gardner alongside Felix, heading down to turn number 5, and they're almost identical to McCluskey and Simpson. Gardner now moves into third place, making it 2 next-gen drivers on the podium. Now Stephen Bird will be keen to keep up with Gavin Gardner and will try and move on Marcelo Felix pretty swift, I imagine, to try and keep up with his fellow battalions in this round tonight. Crucial corner, as we said a few times tonight, is the carousel corner. You can't go too wide on the entrance, you can't turn in too early, you can't turn in too much, and you can't put on the throttle too late or too early on that corner. It has to be such a precise input on pedals and on steering for that carousel corner. Bird will need a good exit for turn number 14. Felix has had a good exit there, and we'll get a healthy amount of slipstream from Gavin Gardner here. Into turn number 1. Felix is not giving up here. He's closing in on Gardner under braking there for turn number 1. Definitely not giving up here. Gardner was very quick through turn number 3 there. His mid-corner speed was brilliant, actually. It made him a little bit squirrely on the exit. Felix really closing in on the straights there, but not quite enough to make a move. Credit to Simpson, he's not letting McCluskey get away. Still within a second, still keeping a strong gap to Gardner. Podium is very much on for Simpson still here. It's definitely not under immediate threat. Less than 10 minutes to go in this race. Got around about 4 laps to go, I would say, in this race. We're seeing Mark Sykes and Jeffrey Kruger side by side with one another. What a race Mark Sykes is having. If he was in silver, he'd be third right now, as he moves past Jeffrey Kruger. Doesn't get him extra points, but it just shows what kind of pace Mark Sykes might have. Kruger and Oosthuizen might be cashing in for a pretty good points finish here for third and fourth. It won't be a win for any CSA driver in silver right now in this race, but it's still a good haul of points. And Oosthuizen not got the meatball flag for the missing boot lid, but it will affect his aerodynamics and his car won't be at optimal speed. But for the time being, he's hanging on to fourth place. We'll see what Matthew Addy can do. With a good sprint race, we'll see if he can close into potentially 4th or even 3rd. Ah, I missed it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Right, okay. We'll go back and see the replay of Gardner passing Marcelo Felix. No, that wasn't it. That was earlier on. I think Stephen Bird has just passed, so... Yeah, okay. Oh, we did already pass him, yeah, do excuse me. So, yeah, I'm going mad. Stephen Bird to the inside, not quite there, can't quite get it to the full inside. We're staying 5th for the time being, and Gardner is stretching a little bit away from Felix now, and that is going to make 3rd all the more difficult for Stephen Bird. We saw Felix getting a little bit out of shape, heading out of the corner there, pushing really hard is the Portuguese driver. Trying desperately to get as much points he can from this race. 8th in the championship heading into tonight was Felix, and a good haul of points tonight might see him get further up the championship standings. To Canada corner. Not many laps to go, 3 or 4 laps to go. And we do have some moves in the bronze category. Stephen de Gravelia and Gabriel Papaconstantino have swapped places. So up the road there, Stephen went wide, heading out the final corner, went out of shape, lost the rear a bit, and therefore has lost the position to Gabriel Papaconstantino. He's been brilliant tonight as Gabriel. He's just moved up the order bit by bit, and a 2nd place in this feature race will be well deserved for him. Sykes still leads that bronze category though, a long way ahead, and actually we've got a move here for gold. Stephen Bird, the left side of Felix, that might have been on the exit of turn number 3 there. Still fighting back is Felix though. He's going to be on the outside, which hasn't always been the best line into turn number 6. Trying to hang it around the outside. They have to give each other room, but they don't. Contact made between the two. Stephen Bird spins round. Felix goes off the track. Through goes Gaz Williams. Oh, and Stephen Bird has to be careful rejoining the track there. And more contact at that corner. Okay, so they were very tight to each other heading into the braking zone here. There was a little bit of contact there, but as they head round the corner, it's close. All the way along that complex is super close between those two, probably too close. And that's what led to that incident. That drops Stephen Bird down to 11th place. That's not good for him considering the night he's had. But wait a minute, we've got Ben Altry there in the wall. So something's happened to him heading out of the kink. Now behind him there is Ben Bennyworth. Heading into the kink. Oh, he hit the grass too much. Back end goes out of shape. Sends him into the wall. That's going to put him into the pits for a fast repair. If he can get it to the pits. He might be limping a little bit. But he might make it there. He is out of the points now. He is out of the points. And he'll be kicking himself. Just taking that curb a little bit too much. He will definitely be kicking himself there. Gaz Williams, a big inherent of Marcelo Felix and Stephen Bird dropping down the order. 4th place for him. Big haul of points again tonight for him and his team. Moves out the way. Gavin Gardner will try for second place. With just 2 laps to go, Simpson's doing well to hang on to the second place. He could well hang on to it. We'll be starting the final lap. Oh, I don't know. We might have another lap to go after this one. We could. It might be close. But if it's close and we end up doing an extra lap, there could be some drivers coughing and spluttering with lack of fuel. So let's just keep an eye on McCluskey. See when he crosses the line. Realistically, if he crosses the line with 57, 55 to go, around that, the marshal will wave the white flag. This is close. I think we're going to get an extra lap here, ladies and gentlemen. And there'll be some drivers who might be skimming the edge of fuel to try and get quicker pit stops, etc, etc. Now, where's the marshal on the gantry? I don't think he was waving... No, he wasn't. The marshal's not waving the white flag. There will be an extra lap. 2 laps to go now for everyone. Do these drivers have enough fuel? And we can't tell. We absolutely can't tell. It'd be interesting to see if any drivers back off now to try and save fuel. Because foreseeing that an extra lap will happen is tricky to do until you get to that moment in the race. A lot of drivers in these particular series often choose safety over risk when it comes to fuel replenishment. Some drivers do, some drivers don't, and we will see what ends up happening here. There's a lot of tools in iRacing, Race Labs being one of them, that help you figure out how much fuel you need to get to the end, but even that has some confusion sometimes of how many laps are going to be remaining in the race. So we're going to be starting the next lap the final lap very, very soon. We are watching the battle for second. It is closing in between these two. Simpson versus Gardner. The leader of the race will start the final lap very shortly. There goes Gardner, hunting down Edwin Simpson. What a night of racing we've had. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, Road America delivers. What a track it is. And here comes our race leader. White flag waves from the gantry. Final lap. This is one of the key battles on the track. Gardner quicker by 2.5 tenths on that previous lap and is within 3 tenths of Simpson on this lap now. Nigel Stock leads the silver category and could be on his way to winning his first silver category race win that I've seen on broadcast anyway, and Mark Sykes is on his way to a bronze category win. Gardner trying to put off Simpson by moving around the track a little bit to make it look like he's looking for a potential move. Simpson's holding on really, really well, it's got to be said. I think Gardner might be out of options here. I don't think he's close enough. In fact, he's moved away from Simpson on this lap. Going through the kink is going to be crucial, though. Half a second between them was just going up, and it's just going down now. Through the kink we go. Simpson looked pretty clean through there. He might have even taken a little bit of speed off just to make sure he got through that corner. Gardner's closing in on this straight, but I think Simpson can afford it. Through he goes. He's looking healthy for that second spot, but we will switch to our winner. He's had a brief tenure off of the top step of the podium with the sprint race, but tonight in this feature race again, it's McCluskey on the top step, holding the lead in the championship out of round number 2. McCluskey wins round 2 feature race here at Road America. Second place to Edwin Simpson. Strong performance from him in this race, with Gavin Gardner in 3rd position. Over to the silver category, and for the first time I've seen him on a broadcast, Nigel Stock wins the silver category. 9th place overall as well. A strong performance for him in this race, and he takes fastest lap as well. Well done, Nigel. On the final lap of the race, outright fastest lap. Incredible. Brilliant. And Baz Meacham, 2nd place for him. He's got some luck on his side. Brilliant performance from him in this race. Jeffrey Kruger takes 3rd place. CSA, not an optimal 2nd race for them, losing out on wins in most categories actually. But I still think it'll be Oosthuizen leading the championship heading out of tonight. And we have got Mark Sykes, a winner in the bronze category. Stellar performance from him in this race. Dominated the category, in fact. Gabriel Papaconstantino in the Lamborghini takes 2nd place in category. He's the guy who moves through the field. 2nd highest places gained in this race. The highest gaining drivers were Stephen de Gravelia, 3rd place in category. But him and Nigel Stock both gained 18 places each overall. Ben McCluskey, outright winner. I'm just going to validate there. Not outright fastest lap, sorry. But Nigel Stock, fastest lap in category on that final lap. So just remember, ladies and gentlemen, fastest lap also gets you a bonus point in these feature races. A bonus point in these feature races, and the same in the sprints. So Stock, Sykes and McCluskey, maximum points from this feature race for each of them. I'm sure they'll take that. It's been a superb night of racing. I thoroughly enjoyed Road America tonight. It's a fun track to drive, a real driver's track. It can be tricky to battle on this track, that's one thing to admit. But, because of how narrow it is. But it is fun to drive, I can vouch for that. And it's fun to watch as well. I'm sure we can all vouch for that. But let's go through our race results. Always provisional race results here. It's always pending steward reviews later on. But Ben McCluskey takes the win in the feature race of the gold category here at Road America round 2. Edwin Simpson, podium position, 2nd place for him, with Gavin Gardner a strong 3rd place. Gaz Williams 4th position, with Marcelo Felix in 5th position. Mike Barber in 6th, with Ben Bennyworth in 7th position. Sean Shute in 8th. Stephen Bird, who had contact towards the end, ends up in 9th position in the end, with Aaron Hobson 10th. Ian Manners 11th, with Jamie Dory at quiet night of him in 12th. Yes, thank you, Benji, for the donuts. Keep them going. Matthew Sheraton 13th, Hobson 14th, and rounding off the points was Alan McCain. Ben Oucher, Jake Pitt, and Chris Shorter rounding off the gold category. Silver category, and it's a win for Nigel Stock. 5-second win in the end in front of Baz Meacham and Jeffrey Kruger rounding off the podium there. Kyle Oosthuizen, damage on his car, 4th in the end for him. He was involved in an incident that put him into the barrier. 4th place for him. Matthew Addy in 5th position, a good haul of points for him tonight. He had a good result in race 1, and that's a good result in race 2. Harley Bicknell, quiet, but good night for him tonight, I would say. 6th place for the Englishman. Kevin Smith in 7th position with Jochen Siegert, who started this race pretty well, but it tailed off a little bit as time went by. He finishes 8th. Mark Baker in 9th with Wesley Lewin in 10th. Paul Walsh in 11th. A dark night for him, unfortunately, for the fellow commentator. Craig Tillotson in 12th. 13th Mike Reedner. And James Spagaskell in 14th, who I believe didn't finish. Bronze category. It's a win for Mark Sykes and a commanding win, shall I say. 18 seconds from Gabriel Papaconstantino, who gained a lot of places to get there. Likewise with Mark Sykes and Stephen de Gravelia. Top 3 they can be very proud of, especially Stephen de Gravelia 3rd, and then a minute off the lead. Andy Chell, after the dramas of the first race, gets a good 4th place in the end for himself. Gabriel Yilmaz, a very strong debut tonight. I think that's 2 top 5 placings for him. Robert Savage in 6th place with Stein Vatens in 7th. Jonathan Berry in 8th. Elwyn Sykes in 9th. John Meredith 10th. And Adam Wilson-Weir in 11th. And non-finishers were Andy Rooney due to the pit stop mishap. The crew messing up, it seems. And Nathan Lewis Stone. So there we go, there's the results. And we'll go through them again a little bit later on. We're just going to hang around here to see if we get any interviews heading in. We're a bit shy this year. We spoke to Andy Chell last week and he was our only interviewee. But we'll see if anybody else pops in for a chat. Ben McCluskey still... I think this is his driving down victory lane, or rendition of that. Gives us something to look at out on the track. And yeah, actually, we do have someone in the interview booth. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewind. We are going to rewind to the start of this race. And we'll have a chat to a driver or two. Once we can find the start of this race, that is. But yeah, it'd be good to chat to Nigel Stock. We haven't had him in the comms booth. You lot probably don't know what he sounds like, but I do. Where's the start of this race? Come on, where is it? There it is. So, we will head back to the start of this race. And we will be chatting to Nigel Stock. He'll be joining us in the comms booth. So, first of all, Nige, can you hear us? Just check the mics are working.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect, perfect. Welcome to the comms booth, Nigel, and finally a race win for yourself. Initially, how do you feel, mate?
I feel it's about time, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the wins eluded you a little bit in the last few seasons, but you got it tonight. And well, what was happening in that race was a couple of pit stops didn't quite go to plan for the other drivers. Did you know that was going on, or did you just think, right, I'll pit now and we'll see where we'll end up?
Well, I was good. I was sort of doing what everyone else wasn't doing, so a few went in, and I thought that I would what was I'm trying to think, lost my train of thought. And then like when I saw everyone else going, I just did like a really good lap, and I didn't realise anyone had a bad pit stop. I just knew that I had to nail my lap, which I managed to do. And then when I came out and saw others quite far in front, I was quite happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was all about that in lap and out lap. But what about after the pit stops there? Because you just looked so calm behind the wheel. Was that what it was? You came out in the lead. You're like, oh, okay, great, and you just focused in on winning from then on, really.
Pretty much, yeah. It was just I had no pressure or anything because I could see quite a few was back, so I just sort of tried to just hit my marks and just try and see if I could catch anyone up front and I sort of tried to set myself a little challenge to try and finish in the top 10, which I managed to do, which I was happy with that.
Absolutely. Now let's go from gloom to doom here. Race 1 didn't quite go to plan for you, Nige. an incident between you and Gaskell, I believe it was. Without naughty words that would get you community service, what was your view of that incident that happened in race 1?
Well, I was trying to obviously wanted to get through the goals in front to try and go and battle for the lead of silvers, but I didn't want to be too aggressive at the same time, and then I guess he maybe was trying to do a switchback or something, but whatever he did it wrong, sadly, and turned me, and luckily I didn't hit the wall really, which kind of saved me from not having any damage or anything, so I could still carry on and try and at least finish in the top 5, which I managed to achieve. But yeah, it's just a little disappointing really when I feel like I could have had a double podium. I mean, it was good that Steve managed to get a double podium in bronze, but I feel like there could have been more on the table if once again, like last week really, there's more points on the table that have eluded me again. But oh well, it's something to build on now, which is good. So of course, take it to the next round and try and see if I can get a double podium next time.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about points lost, points gained, that sort of thing. After this race win now, do you feel like, right, okay, I can go for a championship now? Do you feel like that's well within reach for you?
Well, I think you know how my luck is in racing, so I don't know if the championships are so much a thing. I'm more just trying to focus on, hopefully next week, just having an instant-free round, really, because, I mean, I feel like I could have maybe done a bit better in qualifying. I mean, it was amazing that me and Matthew Addy had the exact same time. I don't know why I started behind him, though. I felt like I did the time first, so I should have started in front, but I guess... maybe he got like point something faster than me. So, but yeah,
potentially. Yeah.
But hopefully, yeah, just focus, just try and get a clean, incident-free round under my belt, and then sort of see where we are after that sort of thing, and just try and just build on what like this win. Like I said, that's the main thing.
Excellent. You sound in good spirits for next week. But next week we're at Monza. How is that track for you? One you like? One you don't like?
I like it, but I don't know if it necessarily likes me. The Ferrari's really strong, so that seems to be a good thing. It is a bit tail happy at times, especially on cold tyres. You really have to be careful at the start of races because it's so easy to lose the back. But just go sort of build the tyres up. But once the tyres are pretty warm, you might slide a little bit, but it's usually controllable. But it's like I was struggling to get past that Mercedes at the end. But apart from that, it seems to. I mean, the Porsches are pretty like a bit down on power. They seem to be because they seem to be easy to slipstream and pass. But the Ferrari seems to be pretty much in the middle. Seems to be pretty good at sort of. So I feel like it's a good all-rounder. That's why I picked it. So I feel like it's quite good in the corners, and you just make sure you get the corner right. And hopefully, you get the slingshot down the straight and try and drive past people.
That's good insight, actually, on the cars. So, yeah, thanks for that, Nige. Yeah, it's interesting how the Ferrari is quite favoured, actually, this season, whereas the Porsche last season was the dominant car. It's very interesting. But, yeah, we have to get to our next interview shortly, Nige. But, anybody you want to give a shout-out to? Any friends, family, sponsors, etc.?
Well, obviously, shout out to the family and everyone at Crest, including yourself, obviously. And the team and the league, and for you doing great streams, and everyone that races. Thank all the good battling. I think good battling with Baz and who was one of the CSA guys. I can't remember. One in the McLaren. I can't remember who it was now, but it was a good battle in turn 1 and turn 2 we had for a while. So that was good fun. So shout out to them as well.
Excellent. Yeah, bring on the good racing. Well, well done, Nige. Thanks for joining us in the comms booth. Well done tonight. We'll see you next time at Monza.
Thanks. See you.
There we go. Nigel did give us some really good insight there, actually, on how the Ferrari behaves. I haven't driven the Ferrari, whereas I have driven the Mercedes, the Mustang, the BMW. I have driven them cars. Oh, and the Audi, actually. Whereas the other cars I haven't actually driven. I probably ought to give it a go so I can just kind of know how they are. it'll give me good insight for the stream, actually. But yeah, the way the car behaves, it's mid-tier. It's just a very all-round car, it seems, and that seemed to be what got the Porsche the feel of over everyone last season. But because iRacing changed their balance of performance around all the time, it changes constantly. And we're not actually seeing many Porsches in the field. And actually, the Porsches we are seeing in the field this season are struggling a little bit more than compared to last season. It's strange how it twos and fro's on iRacing. It's certainly, at the moment, the BMW seems a pretty good car, but the top dogs at the moment are the Ferrari and the McLaren. That's certain. But let's move on to another interview now, and it's our regular spot here in the comms booth. We've saved the seat for you, Andy. There's a name, there's a seat here with your name on it. But welcome back to the comms booth, mate. How are you?
I'll take that, mate. I'll join you. No, I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm good. That last race took it out of me. I won't lie. That hour's race took it out of me.
I saw you've given a salute to Gabriel Yilmaz in Discord, so I presume you've had a pretty good battle with him in this race, as seeing as you're both 4th and 5th.
Towards the end, yeah. So, I mean, I had the bit between my teeth the entire race. I span early on, racing with Mark at the front, and at the start, the car just wasn't happy into the last corner, so it just kept running over in the braking zone. Got a little hot in the collar because it was costing me, and I kept doing it, to be honest. So pitted early and then just got my head down and just ran with the bit between my teeth. I was lucky with a couple of cars because they were the team, and they didn't kind of impede me, even though we are free to race, and it has been said, we are racing at the moment, but the guy's just like, Andy's going hell for leather and he's quiet, which usually means that he's got his head down. So they let me slipstream ease me by pretty nicely. So we work well together. Yeah, nice little recovery to 4th.
Yeah.
So, but the feature race, the sprint race didn't go fantastic at all, to be honest. So it's been a mixed night tonight. Yeah.
I was about to say it's been a bit of a mixed bag for you tonight. But you were caught up in that lap 1 incident. I think you were anyway.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
We kind of saw how it went, but from your perspective, how did the event kind of unfold?
I'll be honest, I haven't looked at it properly. One of the guys had a look in the interval just to see kind of what had gone on, but we haven't properly reviewed it. From what we've seen so far, it's just one of them things. Incident in front of us, concertina does, cars behind, not fully aware of what's going on, maybe coming in a little bit too hot, maybe, cold tyres, cold brakes, it's first corner, so, sometimes you just misaccount for that. Not saying they did, not saying they didn't, because like I say, I haven't reviewed it, but that would be my guess, because it was kind of like sandwiched into it, at which point, I don't know exactly what happened, but the car just wouldn't turn any direction, so I had to tow, which lost me a couple of laps, but it happens in racing, these things happen. Like I say, I haven't fully reviewed it, so I can't say for definite, but racing's racing at the end of the day. We make the best of it as best we can, and that's how it is, unfortunately. So yeah.
Yeah, but a good comeback to 4th throughout that race. So nice and fun, I'm assuming.
I was just, like I say, I just had my head down and was just doing 207 flats as best as I could. Which seemed to help. I seemed to be able to carry the speed in the car a lot better than some people were. Although I will say there were some cars that down the straight were just phenomenal. The BMW.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was kind of giving a nod to Gabriel, to be honest with you, because unless I was within 0.2 of a second, I'd stall out trying to catch up to him. I'd get it maybe alongside him, but it wasn't worth banzaiing it into the first corner and taking us both out. So it was just keep it a bit sensible, which we both did. We had some nice side by side action. It was great fighting, hence give him a little nod. So yeah, but that was what I did. Like I say, I pitted. I think it was lap 5 or 6. I pitted. It was really early, just when my fuel monitor was saying, look, you can pit now if you want, and I was like, right, I need to get my head. I need 20-30 seconds just to clear that heat in the under the helmet sort of thing. And then it was like, right, what do I need to do? Well, I need to be hitting quali laps now. I need to do Michael Schumacher at Hungary sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I aim for. I aim to be at my quali time every lap. There were some laps where you couldn't. Obviously, when you're going through traffic and, well, I say traffic, through passing other cars, you do slow down a little, but that was the aim, really. Like I say, I can't thank the team enough for just helping me through, because I think they realised I was a bit annoyed because I was quiet. So yeah, we like I say, we win as a team and we're losing as a team, and we've done, I want to say, pretty good again today, especially with other new guys, Rob, Adam, and John. I just want to say I nearly called them by the nicknames, and we were joking about this beforehand, because we're like, when you go in today, you're going to call us by our nicknames, aren't you? I'm like, I don't want to, but
right, okay.
I might do. But yeah, I'm proud of what they're doing. Obviously, Andy's a known factor in the team, and so's Ben. So I know what they're capable of. Obviously, Andy's had a bit of a bad one in the pits. Bit of a graphical error that's ended up with him getting disqualified, which obviously isn't what we want for him, because obviously we know he's a good racer. You have to look at last week and see how good he is. So I think he's just posted in the chat actually about what's actually happened. So it's one of them. Like I say, as a team we win and lose together. So we'll pick Andy up. It's an easy. It's one of them things that it's an unusual thing. It's not like he's dropped it on the circuit and ripped the car apart. It's just graphical error meant his spotter didn't tell him where his pit was, and then he's had this issue. So like I say, I'm happy with the team. We're doing brilliantly, and I'm really happy with them. So yeah, good and bad, but we're doing good overall.
That's good. Good strong result for Ben in the second race as well. First race didn't go so well for him, but 7th for him in the second race. How's he finding the gold category? Because it's a big leap up from silver to gold.
It is. I mean, I don't want to speak for him too much, because obviously, he's not me. I'm not him even. Sorry. But I think he's doing well. To be honest with you, I do think he's doing well. Like you say, it's a big step up. There's a lot of gold drivers that were in last time we were racing. Were in the prototypes, so they're a bit of an unknown quantity from a GT3 racing point of view. So he's got to work around that. There is also some other drivers that have come in that are in the gold category that are really good drivers. I mean, you only have to look at how Mike did last week. He was smashing it in that Mustang, and you've got Benji who's crushing it, and we knew he did in the GTPs, but translating over to GT3 isn't always easy, because they are very different cars. So there's a very, very tight. I mean, I think you just showed on stream my car just letting go. That was, I think, here is where I decided to pick, because I'm like, I need a second. Yeah, it is. So I've got it on in the background. Although probably a little bit out of sync. So like I say, yeah, there's a very fierce competition in that gold category, and for Ben to be holding his own is a testament to his skill, to be honest with you. Because it isn't easy to step up to people that are, there's some people in there that are twice his iRacing, maybe even more, and obviously I know we always say that's not a measure of skill, but it does give indication to overall pace, and I think Ben's absolutely crushing it. So yeah, I think he'd probably say he's doing okay, because we both know Ben and we know he's a little understated in how he talks about things, but yeah, from a team manager point of view, I think he's crushing it, and I'm really happy with what he's doing up there. So
excellent. Yeah, I agree, he's doing brilliant. I think that's all we've got time for, Andy, but good in-depth discussion about the race then. Yeah, anybody you want to give a shout out to before we head off? Any friends, family, sponsors, etc.?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I gave a shout out to the Power Drivers Academy last week. Same thing again, really. The team are doing brilliant. It's a good shout out to all of the Quatermass team. Max for keeping the team going for us, so we've actually got a place to race. Any of my friends that have jumped into the stream that I've sent it over to you, thanks very much for coming and watching and supporting. The stream's brilliant, so Alex, keeping us on air and talking through everything we're doing. So yeah, and to the Next Gen team, because they've kept us going, and it is good fun to race here. So yeah,
excellent, brilliant. Always a pleasure, Andy. Thanks very much for coming to chat to us tonight yet again, and well done to yourself and the team.
Thank you very much. Speak to you next week.
See you next week. Good luck.
Thanks. Bye.
Here we go. Andy Chell there of Quatermass Motorsport. 4th place for him in the feature race. I don't think we've got the points updated in the championship just yet. I'm just going to check on that. No, we don't. So we won't be able to give you the points heading out of tonight. But we will go have a run back through of the results of tonight's race. And we'll go through the top 10. Ben McCluskey takes the win in the feature race here at Road Atlanta. Simpson 2nd with Gavin Gardner 3rd. Gaz Williams 4th from Marcelo Felix. Mike Barber and Ben Bennyworth 6th and 7th. 8th, 9th and 10th. Shoot, Bird and Hobson. Over to the silver category. It's a first win for a while in this league, actually, for Nigel Stock. Baz Meacham takes 2nd position, just under 5 seconds behind, from Jeffrey Kruger in 3rd. Kyle Oosthuizen in 4th position from Matthew Addy. Harley Bicknell in 6th position from Kevin Smith. Jochen Seeger 8th. 9th and 10th, Mark Baker and Wesley Lewin. Bronze category, a win for Mark Sykes from 18 seconds in front of Gabriel Papacostantino. Stephen de Gravelia takes the final step at the podium in the bronze category, and the person we just spoke to, Andy Chell, in 4th position. Gabriel Yilma in 5th position from Robert Savage. Stein Vatens in 7th position. Jonathan Berry, Elwyn Sykes and John Meredith rounding off the top 10 of the bronze category. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, that has been round 2 at Road America. Next week, we're off to Monza, and it's our first endurance round of the season. We're tuning in at exactly the same time next week. We'll be live at 20 minutes to 8 o'clock p.m. That is in the evening, UK time. And the endurance race will be going straight away from 8 o'clock UK time. So make sure you tune in then to catch all the action as it happens live. There's no qualifying next week. It's just the practice, build-up, and the endurance race. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Next Gen Racing, the GT3 Season 6. My name's Alex Everitt. I've been your commentator tonight on behalf of Crest Autosport and on behalf of Next Gen Racing, who they and the sponsors, partners and affiliates help put on the racing tonight. They include PowerMax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design and Motor Racing, as well as Only Racing, who are providing the prizes for this championship. The winner will receive £500 worth of store credits to use on their online store. If you want to get involved in Next Gen Racing, scan the QR code on the bottom left to join our Discord server. Thank you very much for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Round 2 over and dusted, and we're heading over to the endurance rounds. It's a long endurance season, and we've got a long enduring race coming up next at Monza. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, that's all from us here at Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.